Yeah, my mic's on. All right, it is September the 26th, 2024 at 5 p.m. This is our City Council Workshop. Meetings are available to watch on our YouTube channel. Search us for the City of Bruceville-Eddy and click the subscribed button. Please mute your phones, I gotta do mine, and computers to avoid any interruptions during our meeting, please. Okay, and that goes for me too. Okay, it's done. All right, thank y'all for all being here. Up here, we have, to my left, we have Councilman Wiggins and Councilman McGruer, our city administrator, Kent Manton, and to my left, we have Joyce McLaughlin, city councilwoman, and our councilman, Mr. Prater. And then here tonight, we have Chief Dorsey in the back, and our water specialist, Jean Sprout, and Pam Combs, our city secretary, and Jamie Rodriguez, our water clerk. Okay, all right. Citizens presentation. The city council welcomes public comments at this point on items not specifically listed on the agenda. Speakers must sign up before the meeting begins. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each. The council cannot respond to matters not listed on the agenda until a future meeting. Do we have anyone signed up to speak? No. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Number 3, City Council audio visual equipment training. The City Council and staff will conduct training on newly installed auto equipment, optimization of our online viewing experience. Okay, Kent? It's going to be up to you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. So, before you tonight, you will see your approved new microphones. They look just a little bit different than the last ones. So I just kind of wanted to go over some of the functionality. That way you're aware and prepared for the meeting tonight. One of the other adjustments that came from this was a recommendation from Asbel Electronics to put 2 microphones here. As you can see, I can move about a little bit more, in a more natural manner, allowing the speakers to have their voice captured a lot better than previously. In the past, you had to really tighten down on one of these microphones just to be able to get the audio to come across. The adjustments that they made kind of create this bubble. So every night we'll go ahead and turn on both of these, and that way the member can speak here and everybody can hear it both in the room and on YouTube. Also, we have a couple extra microphones back there for Pam and Janie should they need to be able to speak, and we have one more too that we can bring out into the audience should somebody not be able to come up to the podium. So just want to make you all aware of that. So if you'll take a look at your microphones there, you can see that you've got a gooseneck microphone. It's 12 inches. And then at the very bottom there, you have a push to talk button. If y'all want to play around with that for a minute, it does take some getting used to. There must be some sort of dummy proof built into it. That way you don't accidentally hit it. But when you press it, you'll see that light go from red to green. So you just got to kind of plan ahead when you're wanting to speak, you know, raise your hand, address the presiding officer. You can press that button, and then, Mayor, if you will, just make sure to remember to give them just maybe a second or two before they start talking. Yeah. Just some changes in habits to make it all work a little bit better. You will also notice as well that it's going to pick up a lot better on sound. So if y'all want to test that out a little bit, you don't have to have it right in front of you like you previously did. It'll pick up on that. So
What if my green light doesn't go out?
if your green light doesn't go on, that means you're not pushing it right.
No, push it
Give it a
again.
good push. That's why I wanted y'all to get plenty of practice before we go live.
Push it pretty hard.
It is a little
You
tricky.
gotta hold it. Hold it
Yes.
down for a
Yeah.
second.
A little hold help.
Yeah.
Anyways, did y'all want to go down the line a little bit and just kind of do a mic check real quick?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
You want to sit back a little bit?
What?
Can you hear me now?
Maybe a little bit closer.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Yep, I think it's picking up on that. Check that one more time. Try it one more time, check.
Me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Check
this good? Can you hear me?
Maybe a little bit more on that one,
A little closer?
a little bit closer.
Can you get me?
Yep.
Hear me?
You got me.
Mayor, we got you?
How about you?
Yep. All good on that one? Okay.
You gotta be good about pushing. There it is.
There you go.
Okay, it's got a sweet spot.
Just remember, don't talk until you get the green, yep. You want to give it a
Okay.
try?
I got it.
Yep, we got you. Okay. Mr. Wiggins?
Test, test,
Perfect.
all right.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions on the new equipment?
Yeah, can they leave it on if they want to?
I think so.
Okay, so you don't have to turn it off if you don't want to.
It's just when you're talking under your breath and.
If you're gonna say something to a neighbor, you don't want nobody to hear it, make sure it goes off.
If you leave it on, remember you're live all the time.
Exactly.
That's about
Whether
time
you
I
have
was
it here
alive.
or not.
Good to go. Okay, that's all I have for you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, number 4, weight limit on city streets. Council to discuss solutions for limited access pass-throughs, 18-wheeler traffic on both 4th Street and Eagle Drive, including the establishment of weight limits, the posting of signage, and the ordering of any specialized equipment required to proper enforcement and migration activities.
Mayor, Council, thank you so much. We wanted to get this on the agenda at a request of a council member. We've also had some complaints from some of our citizens about this pass-through 18-wheeler traffic, mostly on Eagle Drive, also on 4th Street, excuse me. It's causing premature deterioration of our streets. There's some safety issues at some of the speeds that these vehicles are traveling down our roads. And they've also resulted in a few instances where they're damaging some of our drainage facilities, namely some of our tin-horn culverts. So we wanted to talk to you tonight about some of the solutions. We think adding potential signage on Eagle and 4th Street may help mitigate some of that, but if you're an 18-wheeler and you've already made the turn on that, you see one of those signs, you're probably not backing up, right? So what do we want to look at doing? Do we want to increase enforcement? Maybe get some specialized equipment? We've looked into some scales that could give our PD the ability to actually enforce upon this practice. However, they're quite cost prohibitive. So Chief Dorsey's got some other solutions for that. I think our main problem is when I-35 closes down or when 3rd Street has to be closed down, all the traffic gets rerouted. So maybe buying some quick setup barricades that we can keep in our public works vehicles, keep in our PD vehicles, and we can set them up when need be to keep everybody routed in the correct direction might be the lowest hanging fruit solution.
And there
But-
could probably be somebody out there for the local residents that live in that area, you know, where we could say, okay, you can go through, but keep the trucks out.
Yeah, and it won't be 100% perfect solution. There's gonna be some people moving those barricades for sure. We've seen it happen, but at least this would let people know that it's not what we want them to do, right? So I'll leave that up to y'all to discuss.
Mr. McGraw?
Yeah, I think, I've talked to some people down in that area, on 4th Street, and their concern is they're going through their property as well, because they can't make the turn. They end up driving across their property, and they've damaged a lot of their property down on 4th Street. And so they wanna see something, whether it be the signs or something like that, but we need to get something there to have the people, or to protect the people's property.
I agree. Anybody else want to discuss anything about it? I mean, this is a workshop, so y'all can. Mr. Wiggins?
no.
Mr. Payne?
Mr. Wiggins.
Oh, Mr.
Oh.
Wiggins?
You know, on 4th Street, I'm trying to think there, 4th Street is pretty well, I mean, if they got 35 or something shut down, or 107, say, and they're cutting off on 4th Street to go to 35. I mean, that's pretty, it's straight all the way till you get to the T, the access road, so I can't see where really an 18-wheeler is hurting anything. I hadn't seen many 18-wheelers go down Fourth Street or Eagle unless, unless it's an issue on 35. And if there is, where they gonna go? I mean, just stay down the access road and be the only other option? I mean, I guess you could put a sign at, down here on Eagle, saying, you know, no 18-wheeler traffic. And that way, they would, yeah, no 18-wheeler truck, except, you know, no fruit trucks, because you got to understand, there might be an 18-wheeler going to the school, to service the school. You know, maybe make deliveries or something. I don't know that, but, you know, I wouldn't wanna stop that.
Yeah,
And
I-
then,
yeah.
and then you could do the same thing on, Fourth Street, on Eagle, either end of Fourth Street, if we wish, but I mean, there could be, I know of one person that lives down there on Fourth Street that drives an 18-wheeler, you know, Mr. Foster.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hate to say that, and I'm not sure, maybe he don't take his 18-wheeler, maybe he just takes his cab or truck, whatever, not the trailer part home, I'm not sure, but anyway, kind of my thoughts.
Mr. Prater, you had a question?
Yeah, this last time, we had the interstate shut down, I was actually I was trying to get to Joyce's house and I couldn't. I was going over to pick up a lawnmower and, the 18-wheeler traffic actually pushed me into the ditch because Eagle Drive's not wide enough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the cars alone, just the cars that didn't belong on that street but it'd be hard to regulate who you say can. Before in the past, I have overheads on my truck, so the police department would call me and ask me to stand at Eagle Drive in the service road. And I pretty much know everybody that lives on that road, so I knew who to let go and let by. But yeah, that's a real concern, especially coming around that curve, because nobody could go the other way. So I'd hate to see something happen right before school lets out and, you know, the interstate shuts down and then they load up Eagle Drive, nobody could get to or from.
Fran, you have a question?
Yeah, and I've gone down in that area, and really what it is, if they're turning off of Temple or Auburn, you know, like that, when they make that turn to go on to Fourth Street isn't really the problem. It's turning from Fourth Street or onto Fourth Street.
Yeah.
There's not enough turning radius there, and so they end up driving through the property. I may have taken some pictures down there, I think I did. Take some pictures, because they're this far into a couple of those yards. And even more, and you see where it's all mashed down in there and stuff like this.
Just like our drainage on
yeah.
Franklin.
Franklin.
The
There
way
was
it ends
one
up.
truck that got stuck in the ditch down there because it
Yeah.
made the turn,
Yeah.
or tried to make the turn, but it got hung up in there, so,
I remember that.
yeah. And so, that needs to be looked at.
Well,
Joyce?
living on Eagle Drive, I live on Eagle Drive, and so when that happens, we have a bridge right past the curb down here
By the, yeah,
that probably does not need all that tonnage going across it for hours, because sometimes it's hours of traffic, and it's just crawling traffic off of I-35. And like Mr. McGurr said, some of them will try and turn down Osborne or Temple Street, mostly on Osborne. It's a little wider there to get into. And if there are any trees that are hanging, they clip those. They clip wires, and they come so close to clipping power lines sometimes. Now they've got a new power line that crosses Eagle Drive from the corner lot on Temple and Eagle. They had to put in new power lines, and it hangs really low. And I know there are some of those trucks that are gonna come awful close to clipping that and just dragging it right on down. So and it tears the road up so bad, all that weight coming on there. So if we could have some kind of weight limit. I understand like there are delivery trucks that need to be able to come into the school and go into those areas. But these 18-wheelers that are on the interstate that are loaded with 46,000 pounds plus their tractor, they don't have any business going down our city streets, our residential streets. They need to stay on 107 or somewhere that can take that weight like that and not be running through people's yards and over their drives. And, I mean, we've had people's driveways messed up and stuff because the road's just not wide enough to accommodate. So we do need to, and I would like to hear Chief Dorsey, his
Yeah.
suggestions, because he's the one that's gonna have to, him and the city workers here.
Yeah, Gene has a question as soon as.
So the issue is, if the interstate shut down, there's five of us, our trucks, then whatever PD's got, trying to close all these side streets from First Street all the way back to City Hall. So if we don't have enough people, those trucks are gonna hit First Street, they're gonna hit Old Moody Road, and, you know, we need to think about those areas too. I know, you know, these roads over here are good, but First Street, we got some low trees over there that are old,
Yeah.
and, you know, it's that whole area.
Yeah, that's true. And we need to have, like, the highway, the department, you know, to let us know, hey, we got some, y'all fixing to have a lot of traffic through there, we're having direct traffic, let us know ahead of time, because you may have 50 of them come through before we see what's really going on, we'll go out there and stop it.
The main thing is there could be a wreck out there on the
Right.
interstate.
Exactly, and we
You
don't know.
Then that's one less, you know,
Yeah.
if I'm on the interstate, then there's one other truck that can't be out blocking.
No.
That's true, because y'all are out there, yeah.
During working hours.
Yeah. So Chief, did you wanna say something? Did you have something about it that you would like to talk about?
Yes, ma'am. Like Gene said, you know, we have Eagle and 4th Street, but we also have numerous other areas off 35 that are going to be affected. You know, people are going to find any and every entry exit point, so we're going to have traffic coming and going all over the place.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, they could come down First or Bruce or Old Moody and end up coming through the town a different way and tearing up other places. So, you know, it's gonna be hard to stop everything. So it may be better suited to, just to address the most vulnerable or the most important parts of town, or what would be the most congested parts of town, especially the downtown area. That may be the most highest priority
Yes, sir.
areas. But I think the best thing to do would be to put up signage. You know, if we're working something major on the highway, we're all gonna be tied up, unfortunately, but I think signage would help, you know, having some kind of barricades or cones or something. We're gonna have to have something portable that we're gonna be able to carry in our cars. So it can't be something too terribly big, but I'm sure we can come up with something that we could set up to block the roads in some way or fashion, but at least start with signage.
Yes, sir.
And then we don't necessarily have to buy scales, because, you know, if a truck's coming down the road, you know, they're gonna have logbooks and bill laden and stuff like that. So if we stop them, then we're gonna be able to find out how much they weigh and what they're carrying and everything like that. So they'll have documentation and everything on record of what their weight is. So that's another way to go about it. So I wish there was an easier way. Just if something,
Oh, yeah.
if something major happens, a lot of our resources to do the blocking of the roads and putting up barricades or what have you is gonna be
Volunteer cross guards.
tied up.
Okay, Mr. Wiggins?
If we have signage up that says basically no trucks, you know, then, and then they do go, then that gives us the opportunity to issue a citation,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes,
But
sir.
if we don't have signage up and they go, we have no recourse,
Yes.
right?
That's correct.
They make it
Okay.
more
Don't, we have
So-
one right out here, don't we? Says no trucks. Or it used to be right out here beside the city hall. Right there
I
on the
don't-
corner.
I don't think we
It
have
said
that.
no trucks, it's not there?
There-
There was one there. and
Oh.
I think that last storm kinda knocked it down, but there was one right there that said no trucks.
Is it, what road is it on?
It was right there on the, by the, okay.
Eagle?
When you
Is it
pull
on
out
Eagle?
of the driveway here and you come to the stop sign, it was right there.
Okay.
I
Well,
think
I
it-
think we need one right back down here at Eagle
I agree.
and the access
I do
road,
too.
frontage
That'd
road.
be a good
I think
spot.
it was just a truck logo with the red
Yes, no
Lo-
trucks.
cross on,
There
cross
needs to be
through
a
on it.
weight limit.
but we need to have a set weight limit,
Yeah.
like there is on Hungry Hill.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, Mr.
Yeah, I was wondering, we've got the city truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm wondering if you could take the sawhorse barricades that they make, because everything lays flat, and you can put that in the bed of that truck. It's parked out here, but if we have a major incident like that, then we can get a hold of Public Works and say, can you get somebody to that truck and get it out there? It's stationed close to the area where you wanna post them. You're not carrying, or Gene's not carrying them around in his vehicles and that, they're just here. And then they come, they don't have to load anything up, it's already loaded. Go out there and start posting them in the streets that need to be blocked off to say, don't go down this street. I don't see a problem if they wanted to go down Fourth, at least from down at Fourth and, the Ranch Road, then they could turn right there, that's wide enough, I don't know, you can tell me, you live there.
Mhm.
Okay, that's wide enough for them to turn, and then there's a straight shot down Fourth Avenue, if you're gonna bypass something, okay? And then they're out on the frontage road and out of town.
Well, most
But
of the
it's-
ones that go down Fourth Street there to get back to the excess road is because if there is a traffic somewhere, they're directing traffic,
Well,
the stop sign, since we don't have red lights anymore yet, we're still working on it, but, they have to stop and it's a four-way stop. When it backs up, well, they get tired of sitting there waiting, so they make a
They-
block and try to go down Fourth Street.
Oh.
That's why they
It tears
turn and
our
go down.
streets up. It just-
well, also the weight.
Mhm,
our-
yeah, that
them
weight's a big-
Fourth
big
Street's
factor.
not put together, I mean,
No.
you go out there and dig up, Third Street, Main Street, yeah, you know, you got asphalt. Yeah,
But Fourth Street,
you
you
go
don't.
Fourth Street, we got it, we grind it up and add some tar to it.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
not made for those big
But
trucks.
yeah, I
That's
think
a
we
good
need to do
point.
signs.
Yeah.
Well, sewer system, I'll mention too, these Chip Seal roads, they're gonna have a brand-new sewer system underneath them, and they're not gonna be able to
Support all that weight.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's
some-
the weight.
Something else, a lot of those, 18-wheelers carry hazmat, and you've got dangerous chemicals going through our residential areas. And if there's an accident with hazmat materials, then we got a big mess on our hands.
Yeah.
We got evacuations going on. So we need to think
Well-
about that.
Maybe we can let the chief get us some,
Quotes.
well, see how many signs we need. I mean, you know, like, a lot of them might be, let's say if, just go by 107, if they're going down 107 and they're stopping at the stop sign and they're backed up, well, they might not all turn off there at Fourth Street and go, they might try to turn, okay, I'm gonna turn on Temple, or
Right.
I'm gonna
Right.
turn on
That's
Border, or something. You know, are we gonna have to have a sign for every street? You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, but to me, let's leave this up to you, and you come back and tell us how many signs that we need and your recommendation. And as far as the weight limit, you know, the weight limit, you know, of course, is gonna be important for the bridge down here on Eagle, you know, that's really a safety issue,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
bridge.
the bridge on Eagle.
And, any other place we have a bridge, I don't think we have any on Fourth Street, but,
Has anyone thought of a swing gate down here at the end of Eagle?
a swing gate,
Those swing gates,
Yeah, but you can't cut off access to the people that live on it.
right,
but they could come down Wilcox.
nah.
But then you
They
get them
come
turning
down
on
Wilcox,
Wilcox,
so will the
then
trucks.
everybody's gonna
Yeah.
follow them in. That's what happens to people that live on that street, they turn down it and everybody just follows right on.
I'm with Mr. Wiggins, go ahead and we'll leave it up to you,
Yeah.
chief, to say and let it, come back with us and let us know.
I think, and with blocking roads too, I mean, that would help mitigate the influx of traffic if there's a major incident on 35 or wreck or what have you, especially when 35 shut down for a period of time, you have all these people exiting off and coming through town, but you're still gonna have residents and people that need to get through, and so you're gonna limit their access, so it's helping fix one issue, but then it's also creating another issue.
That's true, just like when we had
So-
the floods and stuff, you know,
Right.
it's trying to block off, Mackey Ranch Road, and people were getting mad because they lived down that, you know, they didn't wanna, but we were scared for them to go down that because water was flowing really hard, you know, but we
Mate.
can't stop them.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Maybe even look at, maybe giving some education to somebody that's not involved with the fire department or police department to direct traffic. Because that's where it is, that everybody's stopping at those stop signs and
Recruit
that-
volunteers.
if
maybe?
you
I was thinking about that, doing, you know, I'm not opposed to it, and, you know, we could possibly brainstorm on that.
yeah, I mean, if
maybe
they have the
having
training, yeah.
People that live in the areas, close by the areas that are affected, maybe having some volunteers or some
Good idea.
citizen assistance with getting them to help us out with either directing traffic or what have you on that.
Yeah,
That's good.
Get them certified in some way or.
yeah, because they'd have to have training on it, that's.
Right.
Is anybody from the audience, would y'all have any suggestions that y'all have? Anything? No? Are we doing okay so far?
I don't
All
know.
right, thank you.
It's a hard
Not
issue.
trying to put you on the spot.
It's
just
hard,
asking.
it's hard.
Because sometimes people go, well, I got something to say, but I don't know what to do with it. If you have something that you want to talk about, just let us know. Okay. All right, thanks, Chief.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Number 5, it's the water system tap and meter fee. Council to discuss, city policy relating to the installation of water meters and taps. Specifically, the cost change to new or previous customers where a meter has been removed at either the request of the customer or due to non-payment. Okay, Kent?
Mayor, I'll kick us off, yes. So this was a
Oh, I
council,
didn't have my mic on, but I'm sure everybody heard me from the other mics.
they might have, yes. They do a pretty good job at that. I'm sure we'll hear after the meeting if anybody has any issues. So, yes, this was a council member requested item here to discuss our policy on reinstallation of taps after they have been pulled. There's really two situations where a meter might have been removed. One, that's the customer comes in, maybe they're getting tired of paying a base rate on a property that doesn't have a structure or currently vacant. So they will request that the meter be removed so they're not being charged that cost. We do make them, and you'll see here, Pam did print you out those current process steps. They're before you here tonight, so you're kind of familiar with what we're doing internally, but those customers do have to sign a notarized form saying, yes, I do want that meter removed, I give you permission to do so, and at that point, we will remove that meter. But when we do that, we inform them that if they want the meter back, then your tap fee, your meter fee, your water feasibility fee would all have to be repaid to reestablish that, plus a connection fee as well. The other situation is when there's non-payment. Customer gets disconnected, they didn't make their monthly payment for their water bill. It continues to accumulate those base rate charges month after month. Pam gets on them, starts sending out some letters, making phone calls to all of our known contact information, not hearing anything. So after about 5 months or so, we will pull that meter completely. At that point, we do send the the account to collections to see if there's any way we can recoup some of those fees. And then eventually, you know, we'll bring it before council if we aren't able to get any sort of reconciliation on that for y'all to completely, you know, waive that account and flush it clean. But it's our understanding and that council's desire was for us to be collecting fees or some of our costs, right? Because we had costs incurred on these that weren't paid. So at every opportunity we can. So in this case, when a new customer comes in, we've been charging them the full tap fee, the full meter fee to get that service reinstalled, even though it's not necessarily the one who was responsible for the non-payment. So that's where we're seeking some additional direction and clarification from council tonight. So I'll let y'all discuss.
Mr. Brady?
I'm the one that had it put on to talk to y'all about it. I was talking to somebody that just bought some land and the meter was pulled on it, and he was telling me how much it was to get a meter put back in it. And I was like, no, that don't sound right. So I come to City Hall and I check, and sure enough, so I had to go back and tell this guy, and normally I look people in the eye when I'm talking to them, and I couldn't justify what I was telling him, that it's the same cost to go out there and take a backhoe and 3 or 4 men and dig up a pipe and put a tap in it, and I can justify that cost of putting a brand new tap into our water line, but I could not justify the tap already being there and we sending one guy over there to dig a box up and put a new box and a new tap, and it's the same cost for all this other equipment being out there. I couldn't look the guy in the eye when I was telling him this, and it's not right. There's no way to justify that. I just wanted to let y'all know and see if we can't talk about this and find out maybe from Gene of what it would cost to send a guy over there to dig up a box and new meter. I think it needs to have a new meter study to make sure that it can even hold a meter. I think all that needs to stay, but the $3,000 to run over and over $3,000 to run over and put a meter back in where one just come out of, and it's already been paid for once. To me, that's like buying 2 bicycles and only get to ride one, you know? But, yeah, I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention.
Yes, sir.
and see if we can't come up with a price that's reasonable.
Mr. Wiggins, you have your hand?
Yeah, you know, you think about that, it's kind of like somebody is paying twice for that, is what they're doing. If the tap is already there, so let's say somebody says, okay, I'm leaving and I want to just close my account out, and you say, okay, and then you go out and pull the meter. But but the tap stays there. Now somebody else buys that property and they say, now I want to put the meter in. And you don't have to put the tap in because tap's okay. Well, we shouldn't charge for that. You know, there's time and equipment and materials involved on putting in a tap. But when you don't put that tap in, you don't have that. It looks to me like you just go put the meter in, and probably the meter box is still in the ground. So I don't see that we need to charge for that. Again.
What?
All right, I have a question on that, Mr. Wiggins. See if I understood you correctly. So, say I pulled my meter because I was moving, and then I sold my property, and Kent comes and he buys my property. You're saying we don't charge him the full price for that because
If the tap is already there, to me, if the tap is already there, and the tap is in good condition, then we don't need to replace that tap. So I see no need to charge for it. Somebody's already paid to put that in once, and we didn't take it out. It's still in good condition. So I think, you know, I agree with the meter fee, of course, charging for the meter study, and the connection fee. You know, I'm all in agreement with that, but not for putting a tap in. You know, I don't know how much it actually cost. We could figure that out, what our cost is on putting a tap in and the labor, everything, and I say reduce that from that $2,750.
Right. And I'm also not not a fan of charging a new person in our city that comes in, buys a house with a tap meter and being punished for the bad acts of the people before that didn't pay the bills, and now we're gonna charge this new person that's just moved to our city for the other guy's non-responsibility for not paying his bill and all that. But we have a company that goes after that person that didn't do right. We shouldn't be charging the new person that's coming to our town that kind of price. You know, they just bought a house and they think they got water, and then all of a sudden, oh, no. Yeah, there's gotta be a happy medium in there somewhere.
Well, I mean, I don't think I understood what you said, but what I heard you say is that if somebody leaves and they owe us money, are you saying that the people that come in there, they have to pay the amount that they owed? No. Is that, Kent, can you address that?
No, sir, they don't have to pay those past due amounts on the account itself, but us taking the approach of charging a tap fee at every instance when we have to reinstall
Okay.
this equipment is kind of how
Yes.
Yeah,
we're covering
right.
those.
What I was saying is, these people didn't pay their bill and they run off, and then they didn't pay their bill for 5 months, we go take their tap fee. So now the person that bought that property has to pay, we go pull their tap, and now that
Pull their
person that.
meter or their tap?
No, I mean, their meter.
Okay.
And then when somebody buys that property, they have to pay this over $3,000. That's charging them, because these people got their meter pulled. Their non-responsibility for not paying their bill and stuff, now this guy has to pay $3,000 for a thing that's already
Pam,
there.
you had your hand up?
Okay, as long as I've been here, that's the way it's been done. It's
Okay.
never, but going forward, of course, MRB said that it wasn't necessary that we pull the taps because that would make extra work on our guys. But going forward, since y'all are doing this, I will make sure the tap gets pulled
Why?
Why?
because that meter's not on our system no more. Once I disconnect and pull that meter out of the ground, it's taken away from our meter count so that we can add more meters to the system.
But the meter isn't there. The meter isn't there, so that adds that 1 meter back to our system. But just because the
No.
tap stays
It's
there.
not the meter count, it's the tap.
Tap is what counts.
Okay.
That's what, before we change engineering, people, we always pulled the meter and the tap because Tabor said that if we didn't pull the tap, it would count against our tap numbers. Count against how many taps we have on a line, how many taps we have for meters. But since we changed, we weren't pulling the taps because MRB said, well, you don't have to. But this is the way it's done for anybody, and everybody's been paying this way ever since. So what am I supposed to do? Try to find these people that's been paying this and reimburse them? I need to know what.
No,
No, we're
because-
talking about going forward.
Yeah.
Okay, well, going forward, then, in that case, if y'all are gonna do it that way, then the guys will pull the meter and tap at the same time.
Okay,
Why?
so here's a question too, is that you brought up, is we pull the meter, but it goes by tap, as far as how many meters we can have on the line, right? Yes. That's what y'all said, is that right? All right, so now somebody comes in there, and why do they have to do a meter study?
Right. That's,
To see,
Why do they have to do a meter study? Because that meter already counts. We never lost it.
no, we go and we take it off of our meter count, so then they have to make sure there's enough pressure to add another meter
What-
on.
what- No, wait a minute now. That's not what you said. You
Well-
said that the meter's gone, but we go by the taps.
Well,
It's the
that's-
number of taps. If that's true, then when somebody else comes in there, they shouldn't have to do a meter study.
Okay, but you have to stop and
As
think.
long as we didn't add any more.
We change engineers. One says you have to pull the tap when we pull the meter.
I'm talking about the
The other one-
engineer we have now.
Now, He said we didn't have to pull the tap, but we still had to count it as not being there.
Okay,
But if the tap's on it, then it's, I don't see why.
okay. Gene, this might be a question for you. If we go out there, we pull this meter, and then we dig it up, and we take that tap, what do we have to do to replace that tap that's on that main right now? What do we do to shut that off?
Turn the cork stop off, sometimes
Gene, can you come up to the mics for us? Thank you, sir.
We can bring you a mic since your leg is bad.
Yeah,
No, I mean, we'll turn the corp stop off and disconnect the poly and everything going to it,
So the tap's still there.
to an
The only-
extent.
The only difference is, it don't have a hose going up to the meter, where the
Right.
meter was.
But when we go to redig that, to reinstate it, it takes the time to find that existing tap, because you don't know where it's at in
Right.
the ground.
Right. And you
Um,
take a chance of hitting the line while you're trying to dig it up to
Right.
put another tap on it, because there was already one there, so now we're gonna dig it up. This will be the third time that we dug that pipe up for 1 meter.
Well, I think, me, you, and Ricky talked about this last month a little bit in my office, and, you know, I say, you know, we need to figure out, you know, if it's not the full tap fee, a happy medium in there,
Yes.
because, you know, I mean, there may be instances we get a work order to pull the meter and tap, and we haven't got to it yet, and then somebody comes in 2 months later because we haven't gotten to it and buys that property, then, you know, we gotta have a happy medium like y'all were talking about, I agree.
Yeah, I see no sense in pulling a tap, a
Now,
perfectly good tap that's in
well-
our main.
If the tap, if they sign off and they want the meter pulled, then the tap needs to be pulled. Or if they've gotten over the tap limit on back pay, then the tap should be pulled.
The
But
tap or the meter?
the tap and the meter,
Why would we take a chance of hitting that main line, digging it up to find that tap to remove it from the tap that's still connected to the?
because
main?
if we don't remove the physical tap from the main, unhook the poly from the main, then it's still considered a tap in the ground. But once we disconnect it from the main, then that tap count will come off. So if we leave it and we got 50 houses like that, then that's 50 meters that we can't use somewhere else to bring our meter tap count down. If you pull 50 meters and you just pull the meter,
Right.
it still counts as a tap in the ground. So if they get to $3,000 and you pull the tap, you pull 50 taps, well, there's 50 meters that could go in Hungry Hill, 3rd Street, whatever. That frees up your tap count.
so that it counts toward the number of meters that can be on that line.
Right,
If it's a tap
But our
still in there.
Our
right.
engineer now is saying that we don't have to do that.
Right.
Is there a reason why we don't have to do that now?
That would be a question for MRB.
Because, yeah, if they're saying, if we're paying this engineer to tell us what's right, and he's saying we don't have
Why can't we
to.
just count meters?
Well,
Huh?
Why can't we just count meters instead of taps?
Because you got the number of taps that are allotted on certain size lines, and when you exceed that number of taps, then it puts you out of compliance with
Yeah.
ECQ.
But the tap-
even though nobody is using water from that tap.
Exactly,
there-
it still counts,
Yeah,
because if that tap goes to leaking
Okay.
or whatever, then that, you know,
Right, like, okay, I'm getting it in my head, you know me, my brain. So, down 3rd Street, you can only have 10 taps with meters. And somebody gets their meter pulled, but their tap is there, and somebody new comes in and wants to build them a house over here somewhere else, but they're gonna be on 3rd Street, and you're only allowed 10 meters with taps, he can't get a tap and a meter because there's that one tap that meter's gone from is still considered one of the 10,
right.
correct? Okay.
Yeah, as long as that tap is in the ground and not shut off at the main, then it is still a hot tap.
Yes, sir.
Where can I find that information?
As far as the meter,
As the meter, that tap, removing that poly removes the meter count. Where can I find that information?
I will
Mr.
find
Prager, we
it.
can get you in contact with our engineers to.
That's what I wanna talk
Yeah,
about.
Right.
engineer.
Because it don't make no sense to dig that line up and take a chance of hitting it and putting our
Well,
customers
well,
out of.
Maybe we need to get our engineer here
Yes.
where we can all ask questions on that.
Yeah.
That'd be.
Instead of just one person.
Because it makes no sense what we're charging
We
these
need to
people
get them here.
right,
for that.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chief.
and I don't think we need to take the stance of, you know, if we're gonna go this route kinda, then we'll just start pulling the taps,
Yeah.
you know, and that way we can charge them the full fee. No, I don't think we need to take that
No,
stance.
that don't.
As long as our engineer, and evidently he has said, if you pull the meter, it's okay to leave the tap.
right.
So,
But we need a fee to be able to charge that customer.
Yes.
Yes.
We need that
yes,
set in
yeah,
stone in writing.
Yes.
Because-
You know, and something I'd like for you to do, maybe you could come back and maybe we could address this at a meeting when our engineer is here for the council to ask questions to. But in the meantime, whenever that does happen, then, it's back on the agenda, then you can come up with a figure of what you think might be fair.
A third, 50%?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, in other words, if the tap is still there and we go to put in the meter for somebody new, then instead of $27.50, whatever.
Right.
You know, you
Yeah.
figure up, cause you know how long it takes and the equipment we use and the supplies,
The man.
you know
Right.
that, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
And I'll clarify just a little bit more, Pam, we'll let you give another comment too, but on some of your comments earlier, I think why, you know, Pam's so adamant about the pulling of the tap in some of these situations, it doesn't matter as much here in town, where we've got plenty of line size and you've got a structure already built, but on some of these very small lines out in Falls County, where, you know, somebody has a meter that they've had in the ground for a while, they stop paying on it, somebody else down the road wants that meter, has been waiting on it for a long time, you know, when we pull that, we get to reallocate it somewhere else. So that's the benefit.
That
we get
meter.
from that.
Has nothing to do with the tap.
But-
Well, that's where
the
we need to
meter.
get clarification,
Yeah,
is the
that's
tap
what I
and
want
the
to get.
Yeah,
clear,
but
because-
according to what, and Miss Owens explained it, and Gene agreed that, you know, if there's 10 people can only be on there, and then one of them gets pulled, but you leave the tap, somebody else wants it, then still can't let that other person, because you still got that one tap that isn't even being used.
Yeah, but
So-
if we're allowed 10 meters,
Yeah.
and we pull 1 meter, and that allows 9, and then we still tell them people, well, we gotta charge you a water study.
But they count it by
But the-
the
but-
taps, not meters. They count it
Yeah,
by
we're
taps.
counting the tap, she's talking about the tap.
Right, I understand the
She
tap.
explained it correct.
Right,
I mean,
but,
her question was
It
good.
don't sound right. I mean, that may be the way we've done it all these years, but it don't sound right. Because
Well-
we regulate the meters, not the taps. The tap's just there. It just stays there. And then we say, oh, yeah, you can have that. Yeah, you can have a meter.
Okay, Ms. Pam?
We really regulate taps and meters both. Now, Hungry Hill has been known that they refuse to put extra meters. So when one gets pulled, then we have to see how much pressure is on that line and how many meters.
Yes.
Because back when Mr. Wells wanted one, he couldn't get his second one until we pulled a meter. So when I pulled this meter that you're talking about, Mr. Wells got it.
Okay.
So now this other customer has to do a meter study to see if he's able to get that meter back. That's the reason why the meter study's down.
I understand that. But
Now-
what does it have to do with a tap?
Going forward, I need to know what direction y'all want me to take, because I try to do this stuff by the book. So what I have in my head, and when I put on that paper, is what we do now. So
Right.
if y'all want to change something, you need to let me know, so I will be able to tell customers the correct thing. Plus, I also think this ought to go to the infrastructure committee to discuss too.
I'm not saying that you just stop what you're doing. I'm saying it doesn't sound right and we needed to talk about it. You do exactly what you're supposed to do. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. You just do exactly like you're supposed to. It's up to us to make sure if we're doing it right or not. But I'm not saying anything about what you're doing. I'm just saying I'm trying to justify in my head why we're charging this and there's a tap there. That's all I'm trying to clear up. You keep on going exactly the way you're going is perfect. And it's up to us to change if we're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you're doing it right because you're going by the rules that you got to do it by.
Yeah.
I'm saying the rules might not be right, but
Right.
it's the rules that we told you to go by, or
Yeah.
somebody told you to go by. And,
But that don't mean we can't change it.
right, it don't mean we can't change
Yeah,
it,
but,
but,
Figure it out.
right,
Talk to
right,
the-
right. Nobody's saying anything about what the
Engineers.
job you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
right,
I'm just saying that it may be time to change.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Wiggins?
Why don't we get Gene to come back with a price and maybe have our engineer
Yes.
come to the meeting and we put this on the agenda again
That sounds great.
and,
Yeah,
Just
I
keep,
just wanted to bring it
Discuss
to
it.
y'all's attention. It ain't nothing that,
just keep going the way we're going for now.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, all right. So what we're gonna do, when this comes up on in our regular council meeting, then when we get to that, we will put in there that no action taken for
Right.
that, and that we're gonna put it on another agenda. Okay? Does that sound okay with you guys?
yes, ma'am.
Okay?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, you make a motion that we adjourn? Okay.
For
Yeah, bye,
10
Gene.
minutes.
All right, it is 5:51, and our workshop is now closed. Turn your mics off, please. Ma'am? Who seconded it?
I did.
Oh, I thought he, Ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, please. It is now 6:01 on September the 26th of 2024 at 6 p.m., our regular city council meeting. Meetings are available to watch on your YouTube channel. Search for the City of Bruceville-Eddy and click the subscribe button. Please mute your phones and computers to avoid any interference during the meeting. All right. First of all, I want to say thank y'all for being here. It's always nice to look out there and see a lot of people. You know, you may have to be patient with us a little bit about getting to your questions and stuff because we have our new mics and we're learning how to operate those buttons. So, but y'all can hear me without one. So, but there's some of people have smaller, quieter voices. But thank y'all for being here. Okay, if y'all would please stand for prayer. Our Father, we thank you tonight for all of our citizens of Bruceville-Eddy, for our first responders, for our fire department, our police department, our city workers, our city employees, Lord, and for these council members, and for our city administrator. Without these people, our town wouldn't be a good home to live at. I'm just so proud of our little town. I just love it, and people here are always willing to help, no matter what. We may argue and complain and moan and groan, but when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, Lord, we're always there for everyone. Lord, I just want to say thank you. Without you, we wouldn't have anything in this world. Thank you for this morning. This morning was such a beautiful morning, and I'd love to see more of those. But anyway, Lord, again, I just want to say thank you, and you're our Father. That's all I'm going to say. And we ask for all these things in the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Lord God. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. You may have a seat. All right, I'm going to do some roll call here. To my left, we have Councilman Wiggins, Councilman McGruer, our city administrator, Kent Manton, and to my right, we have Councilwoman McLaughlin, we have Councilman Prater. Councilman Griffin is not here tonight, and he did call in. Him and his family are not very, they're sick. I think it's just new stuff that's going around, everybody's getting it, so special prayer for him and his family. Okay, we have our chief in the back, Michael Dorsey. We have our water works people. We have Jean and Johnny. And we have Pam Combs, our city administrator. We have Jamie Rodriguez in our water department. And that's it, besides me, and y'all all know me, so I don't have to say anything. So, but anything, thank y'all for all being here, and we appreciate it very much. Okay, do we have any community announcements at this time? Mrs. McGruer?
I see, and thank you for putting our bingo night up on the board. We are going to have a costume since it's going to be October, first Friday of October the 4th. On Saturday the 5th, we are having an Oktoberfest at the church. So we'll be having brats and red cabbage and German potato contest. If anybody wants to enter, please contact me. And then we're going to have a Stein holding contest and pretzel tossing and a lot of fun. So,
October the 5th.
October the 5th, and it's going to be from 5 to 8. Dinner is $10. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheree, I'm so sorry. I forgot to throw that one up on the board. I totally forgot about it. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
Do we have any more announcements or anything at this time out there? Kent, do you have any more to talk about?
Just a
Okay.
couple more.
All right.
Meet the Candidates Forum for your city council members is gonna take place on the 30th. That's next Monday at 6:30 PM. That's Bruceville Community Church, if you don't know where that is. Quick Google search should help you out there. The Volunteer Fire Department Annual Fish Fry is gonna be scheduled for the 12th of October, which is Texas OU weekend. That's right. They have a habit of putting that on the same day there. 11 to 2 p.m. I think it's $10 a plate or $12 a plate. They do have a lesser amount for kiddos. Come out, support your local volunteer fire department. And then a roll-off trash collection for October. We did just adjust that a little bit to account for the holiday, Columbus Day on the 14th. So that'll be taking place on the 19th. Just as a reminder, we do have bulk and brushy pickup. If you, we haven't gotten a whole lot of requests for that, but you can bring your trash out to the curb. Just give us a call here at City Hall to schedule that, and we'll get you taken care of.
Anybody else have any other announcements that you just thought of or anything? Okay, and we have another meeting in October. It's on the fourth Thursday of the month. It's on October the
25th.
25th. And Halloween is the last month, when does that come on? Thursday or, Monday, Tuesday, Halloween, the last day of the month?
I
It's
think it's
Thursday,
Thursday.
okay.
I was thinking Thursday or Friday.
All right, so to get ready for all your spooks and goblins out there, make sure you have plenty of stuff on. All right, okay. Now, our citizens' presentation. The city council welcomes public comments at this point on items not specifically listed on the agenda. Speakers must sign up before the meeting begins. Speakers are allowed 5 minutes each. The council cannot respond to matters not listed on the agenda until a future agenda. Do we have anybody signed up to speak for the 6 o'clock agenda? No. Okay, all right, moving right along. All right, it is, if I didn't have all this paperwork, I'll tell you what. Okay, it is number 4, it's an open hearing, so it is now 6:08 and our regular council meeting is over. It is 6:08 and our open public hearing is now on, and it's zoning change from single-family dwelling District 1 to local retail district, 111 Temple Street, Eddy, Texas, 76524. Council to hear public comments pertaining to an owner, agent, initial zoning change on property located at 111 Temple Street in Eddy, Texas, containing a total of .38 acres, further described as being located within the city limits of Bruceville-Eddy between Temple and Auburn Street for the current designation of single-family dwelling District 1 to the local retail district. The public hearing is open to any interested person with opinions, objections, and/or comments related to its matter. Comments related to this matter may only be expressed via mail, email, or by appearing in person. Another person or attorney may also represent you. Whew. Do we have anybody that wants to talk about this?
Mayor, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and make some
You go
quick
right
comments
ahead.
just so everybody's filled in on what we're talking about tonight, and then open it up to the public
You
there.
bet.
So this is that zoning change from a single-family 1 district to a local retail district. This was owner-initiated, however, there was an NOV issued because there was a business activity occurring on the property outside of the zoning ordinance allowance. So you can see here that there is a beauty shop that's been practicing there for a few years. In the single-family 1 designation, we got it highlighted up there. It is not currently allowed. That's what that absence of a C or a P indicates. However, if we do move it to that, or if council does decide to move it to a local retail district, or if they wanted to consider another option, say general business, it would be permitted by right, this activity and several others. So this zoning, you can see down here at the bottom, some of the uses for a local retail district do include beauty shop, barber shop, bank, but it's gonna disallow some of those heavier commercial aspects. You're not gonna be able to put a restaurant in there. You're not gonna be able to put a gas station or something like that. Go to the next slide here. So here's the property in question. It's about the middle of the way on Temple Street, on the right-hand side if you're heading north. This is that current zoning map, which indicates that it is that single-family dwelling district. We do have some commercial property up here along Eagle Drive, and then down here towards the Eddy area, obviously on that one. So this zoning change would allow the property owner to continue operating their beauty shop business on the property. It would be our first and only local retail zone property. Business did mention they have been in operation for a few years. The applicant is here tonight. If you'll have any questions, I'm sure they can speak a little bit more towards that. Of course, they've also provided in your packets here a little bit detailed information on why they're requesting this. If disapproved, this business activity would have to cease. Here's some pictures of the property, just so everybody's aware. I'm sure we've all taken Temple Drive. It is the thoroughfare from 107 to Eagle. Some of the surrounding properties. So as required by our zoning ordinance, proper notice has been sent out for this application. We did post it in the Waco Tribune Herald. 14 notices were sent out to adjacent property owners. We did receive that one response in opposition. This use is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan, so the ordinance before you tonight would adjust the zoning map and that comprehensive plan respectively.
Okay. Now it's open for y'all for comments, if anybody wants to talk about it out there. We cannot respond to you, and we cannot ask you questions. So if you just want, if anybody wants to say anything about it, or just let me go on with the. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you have to come to the mic. Thank you. And your
So
name?
it seemed, Sonda Prater. So the business has been there for a while. There hasn't been excessive traffic. There's always just maybe one extra vehicle that's in their driveway. It's not on the lawn, it's not on the street, it's not a party. I don't think there's a problem. And I think it's just gonna bring more taxes for us that we need. So I'm just saying it's already been there, it's already been proven that it's not a hindrance on anybody.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Jimmy Meeks. I own Advanced House Leveling out of Waco. I started off as a small business. I don't know anything about that business, who it is or anything, but I can tell you from just starting off from having my own business, starting at my home, if I would have lost the ability to just park my trucks and trailers there, it would have knocked me out of business because I wouldn't have the money to go and rent a place. And now we have over 100 employees because we were able to start off small.
Anybody else have anything they want to say? Agree or disagree with anything? Okay, yes, sir?
Hi. I wanted to just kind of second what the previous people have said. I think it's great that this person is having her own business and has been operating successfully for the last couple of years. And if I read correctly in the thing that went out in the agenda minutes, there's a good reason for her to have that business in her home where she can be close by to watch, I think it was her mother or someone. But anyway, I think that's something we need to encourage in our community. It still is a small town, but small towns are built on small businesses. And without them, why even have it?
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay. It is now 6:14 and our public hearing is now closed. And it is, let me get all my paperwork here, my goodness gracious. And it is now 6:15 and our regular council meeting is now open. And let me find my, Ken, I've lost all my, I just started going through here and lost all my papers. All right, I need number, it's over here. That's Mr. Prater's right there, that number adjourn. Okay, here, now I got it right here. Number 6, zoning change from single-family dwelling District 1 to local retail district, 111 Temple Street, Eddy, Texas. At the request of the property owner, council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to approve ordinance 09-26-2024-1, containing a total of 0.38 acres, further described as being located within the city limits of Bruceville-Eddy in between Temple and Auburn Street, from its current destination of single-family dwelling District 1 to local retail district, and amending the official zoning map and comprehensive plan of the city of Bruceville-Eddy, McLennan County, Texas, to rightly reflect said changes. Okay, all right? Do you have any? Okay, Mr. Prater?
Y'all know me, I got out and walked the neighborhood. And it didn't take me long to find out real fast that everybody was happy that she was there and that she provides a good service. And I think she's probably cut most of people in Eddie's hair once or twice. But yeah, it didn't take long to find out that most of the people in the neighborhood didn't have any problem with it.
Okay. Anyone else? Mr. McGurr?
Wait, let me get this. Oh, it came on. Okay, the church actually has property adjacent to that. And we hold a lot of events. And when I saw that this was coming up, I drove by there and I said, because it didn't tell me in the paperwork what they wanted the business for. So I drove by there, and I think Sheree and I drove by there a couple times, and I just wanted to see what kind of business it was. I'm still looking for the business. So I don't see where changing what already exists would have any impact on the neighborhood at all.
Okay. So do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
That we approve the,
I'll
okay?
second.
Okay, and Mr. McGurr second that. All in favor? 4? Thank you. All right, it is approved. Okay, all right, number, okay, here it is. It is now 6:18, and our regular council meeting is closed. It is 6:18, and open public hearing, zoning change from single-family dwelling District 3 to multifamily dwelling District 1, 709 and 711 4th Street in Eddy, Texas. Council to hear public comments pertaining to an owner-agent initial zoning change on property located at 709 and 711 4th Street in Eddy, Texas, containing .709 acres and .599 acres, respectively, further described as being located within the city limits of Bruceville-Eddy along 4th Street in between the intersection of Border Street and Anna Hobbs Lane from its current design of single-family dwelling District 3 to multi-family dwelling District 1. The public hearing is open to any interested person with opinions, objections, and/or comments related to this matter. Comments related to this matter may only be expressed via mail, email, or by appearing in person. Another person or attorney may also represent you. Kent?
Mayor, council, thank you so much. And I will just mention to the past applicants, the zoning change has been approved, so if you would like to
If
leave,
y'all
feel
want to
free
go home,
to do so. I know you have another prior commitment. So.
Yeah.
thank y'all very
Thank
much.
you.
I saw that look, yes, thank you. Okay, so this next one here is a zoning change from single-family dwelling district number 3 to multifamily number 1. This was requested by the property owners over there along 4th Street. This is similar to a request that we had a couple months ago where the property owners wanting to install some duplexes. This zoning change would allow the property owner to pursue with this desire to build the duplexes on the lots, and it would be consistent and run with the land. So here's a look at that property map, looking at a couple of the lots out of the Parkside subdivision on 4th Street. Some long and narrow lots there. And this is the zoning map. It is single-family dwelling district. However, our zoning map online does not distinguish between 1, 2, and 3, but it is currently a 3. So just for everybody's reference here, I know that the multifamily one would allow a traditional garden-style apartment. However, the lots as they're currently laid out would not support that. They would have to replat if they were interested in doing that. Of course, that would have to come back before council. Properties are within the sewer connection zone, so these folks would have to connect to the sanitary sewer, which should help with everybody's costs on that one. The plans provided in your agenda packet, they are examples only. We do have a plan review process through Bureau Veritas. They're going to have to approve all that before they can move forward, so just wanted to mention that. The lot frontage on each one of these lots is 80 foot. And you can see here in our zoning ordinance that at least 60 foot is required for multifamily dwelling district number 1. Here's some pictures of the property, just raw land currently. Some of the neighbors' houses over there on 4th Street. So as required by our zoning ordinance, proper notice of this application was sent to the Waco Tribune Herald. 19 notices were sent out to the adjacent property owners. This ordinance would amend the zoning map. However, the use is consistent with the comprehensive plan that does dedicate this land as residential use. Also want to mention that the property owner did go out of their way to secure signed permission of nearly all the residents of the Parkside HOA. Just so we're clear, the city does not enforce those deed restrictions. That would be up to the HOA and the owners of those properties over there. But I just wanted to put that out there that the owner did take that into consideration.
All right, it is open for any comments or anybody that wants to talk about it or approve it or disapprove, or if the owners are here, if they want to say something about it, welcome to it. If not, yes, sir.
Mr. Meeks?
Yes, me again. Again, I'm Jimmy Meeks. I forgot to mention, we own Advanced House Leveling, but we also own Winterhawk Construction. My family's been in business since 1897 locally. We're the ones that are wanting to do the duplexes. We spoke to Mr. Prater. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
We're wanting to start off with those two. We just bought a third lot on the same street. We can put single-family dwellings there, but if we can create 3 more extra doors on the same property, or in this case, 2 to start out with, we're wanting to use that to kind of start what we're planning to do for the future here. I spoke to Mr. Prater in depth the other night. We're wanting to buy some land to bring in more duplexes. These are not going to be low end, but they're not going to be high end. They're going to be affordable. We're doing 192 doors in Waco out by Airport Park right now. That's an over 55 community. We're dealing with D.R. Horton's brother. Mr. Horton passed away, but Terry Horton is now running things. He has a house now that we are working with that we can build a fully 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath in 4 days with 7 people. And these are not the normal looking modular homes. I have pictures that I'd be more than happy to share with anybody afterwards, but we own some patents, he owns some patents. We've made a deal now to come together. So if we can build a house instead of at $200 a square foot, if we can build it at $165, it makes a world of difference to where the rent we can make cheaper. Getting the new houses built to where we can put the larger duplexes here and then build single-family residences, then it's going to be a game changer for people who can afford a house, because right now a lot of people can't. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments or anything to talk about? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm John Cornell, and I'm one of the neighbors that they're proposing to put these buildings on. And my family, my wife and I kind of split initially when we heard about this. She was not wanting to have duplexes next door, and I was thinking, well, at least we'll have neighbors. We have neighbors on one side, but no neighbors for the last, year and a half on the other. So I was looking forward to someone mowing the yard more than it has been. But I think it's a good thing for growth in this area. It's not trailer homes. It's not modular homes. It's something that is going to add value to the property values around there instead of detracting from it. So I'm in favor of it, and my wife has come around a little bit. But I'm looking forward to having more people come to Bruceville-Eddy that could enjoy this kind of home. Even though it's a rental property, there's nothing preventing a person from building a single-family house and renting it out either. So I'd rather have somebody that's looking after the property and maintaining it rather than just build and forget it. So I think, and Jimmy impresses me as a person that's going to want to keep an eye on that.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else?
I'll let you guys pass
Yeah,
this
we
down.
just got through. Mr.
I
Prater passed it around and showed it to us.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments or anything? Yes, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Lisa McDaniel. We're on Anna Hobbs Lane, myself and our owner over the Fuentes. We both are not wanting to do that. just voicing our opinion. It's go whichever way it goes is the way it's gonna go.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, anyone else? Yes, ma'am?
Sheree McGurr at 915 Old Moody Road. My question is, I just want to make this, I guess I'm confused. You're going to build these homes there, but then you're going to monitor them?
Yes, my family will own them, we're not selling.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of.
Background checks, whatever is legal for us to make sure that we're putting people there that are not gonna tear up my property. We don't plan to build these and flip them. We're looking for long-term holds. Obviously, the homes that we'll build that are single-family homes, they will be for sale, just like any normal home. But my vice president, who lives here on your main street, her name is Jana Foland. Excuse me, she got married. Jana Haney, she's watching. She just bought 16 acres on 4th Street, right down just a couple of blocks, and that's going to be her personal home. If I give her bad neighbors, it will be a bad day for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, you had a question?
I'm Judy Mullis, and I have land on the other side of the street, or a house on the other side of the street. So my question is that going to be limited to one duplex per lot? Or he talked about future plans. Is there, I guess, any way that he's going to add more? One per lot?
One per lot.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any comments, suggestions? All right. It is now 6:28, and this public hearing is now closed. It is 6:28, and our regular agenda session is back on, and we are now on right number 9. Zoning changes from single-family dwelling District 3 to multifamily dwelling District 1, 709 and 711 4th Street in Eddy, Texas, at the request of property owner agents, council to discuss, consider and possibly take action to approve ordinance 09-26-2024-2 containing 0.709 acres and 0.599 acres respectively, further described as being located within the city limits of Bruceville-Eddy along 4th Street between the intersection of Border Street and Anna Hobbs Lane from its current designation of single-family dwelling District 3 to the multifamily District 1 from its current destination of single-family dwelling District 3 to multifamily District dwelling 1 and amending the official zoning map of the city of Bruceville-Eddy, McLennan County, Texas to rightfully reflect said changes. Okay, Mr. Wiggins?
Okay, I'll just, after hearing everybody's testimony, I think it'd be a great thing, so I'm gonna move that we approve ordinance number 09-26-2024-2.
I'll second.
Mr. Prater seconds. All in favor?
I have a discussion.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right,
I
discussion?
know you're in a hurry to get
No,
out of here.
No.
You
But
have a
anyway,
discussion.
there are a lot of questions I've got regarding this. One is the HOA still in effect?
Since we own the land now, the people who had sold it to us, basically, the way the attorneys were telling us is that for the HOA to be approved, everyone over there would have to vote yes once all the lots fill up, and I don't see anybody approving the HOA personally.
Okay, and the way the restrictions on the property read is that the developer, that would be you,
Yes, sir.
the developer is the HOA unless they form an HOA.
I do not want an HOA, and we'll put it in writing.
Okay, but that leads me then to the covenants and restrictions imposed on that property. They still are recorded with the county. And if they're recorded with the county, then does the restriction where it shows permitted use being single-family dwellings, residence detached. And so I'm kind of in a quandary here. You've got a covenant and condition that says restricts it to single family in that area, but then you've also got another owner, not the original developer,
Correct.
and there's no condition in this for a change should the developer change hands. So, is that still in effect? And I don't know if I want clarification on that.
From what our attorney told us, which is Walt Fair in Waco,
Okay.
he was telling us that that would not run into any, as he called it, speed bumps for us. That with us buying the property, the gentleman selling it to us, there was something that he signed, giving it my right at that point. And again, I have no interest in creating an HOA.
So what you're telling me, and for the record, is that upon you purchasing the property, excuse me, that develops or dissolves the covenants and restrictions.
I will double check on the wording dissolves. I think it just gives me the power, but I will double check on that. But again, I've lived in the HOA, and
Right.
for country people, that doesn't work very well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir.
Then actually, you made comment to modular homes in the construction of this.
It's referred to as a modular home, because there's, the way Mr. Horton is building these, they are being built in a way that they will be, he explained it to me this way, then when we had our meetings, I actually saw everything. You remember when we were kids and our grandparents were kids, you could order a home from Sears catalog, and it would come like Lincoln Logs. It's basically built the same way. Everything is pre-built, and we put it together on site on a slab house, on a slab foundation.
Okay, and the city actually has an ordinance regarding modular homes.
Yes.
And so, how does this fit in that? It sounds like it's falling into a gray area.
It is, and that's why we're having our final meeting with Mr. Horton next week, and we'll be able to bring you samples of everything as far as what it's made out of. The good thing is the electric bills on the houses that are already built for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath are less than $100 a month right now, documented. It is built to withstand a Category 3 tornado, and they are getting what we call our burn rate, which means the walls need to be able to withstand a 1-hour burn time. And they are exceeding that, and we'll have that stamped before we break ground.
And I'm under the impression then that you're saying that this is a permanent structure.
Yes, sir. No wheels, cannot be picked up and moved.
It's gonna be on a permanent foundation.
Absolute slab, just like the homes next to it.
So it'll be on a slab foundation.
On slab, not a pier and beam.
And then, just one other comment that I have. In the past, it's been a common feeling here that there's a reluctance for our citizens to go with multifamily dwellings.
Sure.
Okay, the fear is that with multifamily dwellings and rentals, that's going to change the dynamics of the city.
Correct.
And so, I'm concerned about if we're rezoning it, we're gonna rezone it to a multifamily 1, is that correct? That's what we're doing here?
Yes, tonight, before you, is multifamily 1.
And there will only be one structure per property built.
Okay, so 1 duplex per.
One duplex, 2 doors per lot.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Did you have something, Joe?
I don't know if you've even thought about this yet and could tell me, but in your lease, since you're not gonna have any of the restrictions,
Did you say the lease?
with your leases, when
Yes,
you
ma'am.
lease
Yes,
the
ma'am.
duplex, will there be any restrictions on your renters, like
Uh,
a yard upkeep and animals and
Yes, ma'am.
all-
Animals,
all that kind of thing?
our insurance will not allow us to have any pit bulls. That's the main thing. The property will be built with a fence And then whatever the city ordinance is, as far as either it's a hurricane fence or a privacy fence. But we'll be able to split the yard so everyone has privacy. As far as regulations for us, as far as who will move into it, of course, no one with any sexual deviant background that's been arrested, no one with any felonies. All this money actually goes to my mom. I own the company, but Dad passed away and he left it to me. So that's Mom's retirement, and I do not play with Mama's money. I've learned.
Good idea. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so all in, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
One more comment or question is now we're gonna put, two residences per property,
Correct.
okay?
Like
which-
701A, 701B.
Okay, and then I'm looking at vehicles now that are gonna be in that area.
Mhm.
There are several properties that are vacant over there. We're looking at probably maybe at least 3, maybe 4 properties. That's possibly somewhere around 8 or 12 cars there. Is that correct?
And I will do what the city recommends on that, and we'll put it into the lease. I'm thinking a 2-bedroom, 2-bath could have a mom with a couple of kids or parents with a couple of kids and probably 3 cars per side.
Okay.
The driveways will be deep enough to handle that.
Okay.
But as far as whatever the city recommends, we'll put it in the lease.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I will say that our zoning ordinance does dictate the number of parking spaces per this dedicated zoning. I just don't know those off the top of my head, but that will all be addressed during the plan review process.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
He pretty much answered.
Okay, all right. No more questions. All in favor? Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Number 10, moving right along. Appointment of the BEEDC Director. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to appoint or reappoint directors to seats 2, seats 4, and 6 of the Bruceville-Eddy Economic Development Corporation for terms of expired September the 30th of 2024. We sent out applications for some people to send in. We got some of those back, but I understand there might be some people here tonight that still want to have their name in the pot, so I'm just asking. I'm asking, does anybody want to put their name in the pot? Okay. Oh. Okay. All right. Okay.
Good to go. All right, this is a rehash from last month's council meeting where you requested that we send out that application to our citizens. We posted on both Savvy Citizen and on our website. Again, this is a reminder that seats 2, 4, and 6 expire on the 30th of this month. The seats that are up for reappointment or reselection are seat number 2, John Colton Smith, seat number 4, Anthony Duty, and seat number 6, myself. Of course, you accepted my resignation at last month's meeting for this. So just as a note here, I did send out an email requesting applications from Director Anthony Duty and Colton Smith, and we have not received applications from them. But before you tonight, we did receive applications from 4 members. Mrs. Gail Pyle, Mr. Kyler Jones, Mr. Jim Marshall, and Mrs. Sonda Prater. All applicants have been deemed eligible to serve. Just as a reminder, here are those requirements for service on the BEEDC. And I'll just say that recommend that you make an appointment based on your pleasure.
Okay, any council member, y'all have a... Mr. Wiggins?
I'm not sure, I know Miss Powell. I'm not sure about Mr. Marshall. Is that Pat?
That's Pat Marshall.
Pat Marshall's?
She went to see Dancing with the Stars tonight.
Oh.
Okay, so you're Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And Mr. Jones, I believe, has he been here before?
Kyler Jones is the Public Works Director for the
Right.
city of Lorena, and he lives on the outskirts of Bruceville-Eddy. He's been up here a few times.
Okay.
He works for Lorena.
Now, are we just gonna appoint three and it doesn't matter, I mean, all positions are up at the same time? 2, 4, and 6, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct,
Yes, sir.
okay. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I've got 3 in my mind.
Well, you can make a recommendation on your 3, and then if somebody else has something other than those 3, then they can
Okay,
add to it or take away.
okay. Then,
I'm gonna stay out of the vote, cause I got a dog in the hunt.
we got-
So, I'm
You
gonna.
mean I gotta break the tie? All right.
Now-
Let's see how it rolls here.
Well, I'll go ahead and step up and I'll say Miss Powell and Mr. Marshall and Miss Prater.
I'll second that.
Okay, do you have anybody else, Joyce, that you want
Nope.
to put in there besides those 3?
Nope.
You made it easy for me. All right, so it looks like that we got our 3 picked.
But we didn't vote.
We gotta make a vote.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Looks like we got it. All right, your name was called. You're in it now, honey.
And I'll reach out.
That's Mr. Piles, Mr. Marshall, and Mrs. Prater.
Yeah.
Yes, and
speak for a minute?
Yes, sir, you sure can.
I own my own business. I owned a shop in Odessa for 10 years. I owned one in the Katy area for 30. So I've dealt with purchasing agents and a lot of people, a lot of different businesses, welding, manufacturing. And I got suckered into a homeowners association. Yeah, we want to be real careful with those.
Yeah.
I got very upset with mine. I got on there and got to be president of it and ran it for 5 years. And they are a nightmare. You got a lot of volunteers. Some of them are great and some of them are terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, we had one situation where to get a new roof on your house, we had an architectural control person and you had to send in a sample of your new shingle and a form and have it approved. All of a sudden, when all these reddish brown roofs, we got a green one over there, right on the main drag. I said, what happened there? Come to find out, she was colorblind.
Oh.
You didn't tell us you were color, you didn't ask.
Gotcha.
I mean, this is the kind of things you gotta watch out for. HOAs get
Yes,
out
sir.
there, you know?
They should
And
be.
so anyhow, I'll be proud to do anything I can, meet with committees, and I'm retired so I can make meetings, you know?
Wonderful.
So, thank
You
y'all.
better be careful how you
Thank
offer.
I'm sorry?
You better be careful what you offer, so.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Marshall, Mrs. Prater, I'll reach out to y'all and get y'all square on the next steps.
All right, number 11, hay baling lease agreement. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on proposals for use of city-owned land located off of Anna Hobbs Lane, MCAD PID number 105603. Authorize the mayor to enter into a baling farming lease agreement with a selected party for land owned by the city of Bruceville-Eddy for the purpose of baling hay. Okay, Kent?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, council, citizens, thank you for your time again. So we did have a local landowner did approach us for the leasing of the land located off of Anna Hobbs Lane for the purposes of baling hay. So we currently, our council had given permission to another landowner to bale the hay at no cost, just to maintain the land about a year ago or so. So since this request for the lease came up, we did send out 2 blind proposals for the baling of the hay on this 37 acres of land. We did, our current leasing rate for grazing leases is at $20 an acre, so we just started off the bid per se at that cost. So the proposal deadline that we gave out was 9/16, September 16th. Just so everybody's aware, this is the property we're talking about. Now, the city owns a tract that continues all across this land here, but also includes here. We're not talking about this little triangle land over here. This is currently leased out. I'll show that on the next slide. We can see these are our current grazing leases here at the city. We have Coker is currently grazing cattle off of Hudson Lane. That expires in February of 2025. And then Parker is grazing cattle at our wastewater treatment plant site off of Bruceville Lane. That also expires at the end of February. So just as a reminder, y'all granted that permission to Mrs. Dorothy Coker to bale hay on this land 8/8/2023. No lease was established at that time. Dorothy has been maintaining this land ever since. And just to mention that if council decides to move forward with the lease on this, some considerations here for the city. One, we'll want to make sure that the provision includes the active insurance to cover any liabilities on the land, which is a standard for these leases. Also, the sewer system, our contractors have reached out to us. They needed a location closer to Anna Hobbs to source some of their equipment. So we have hashed out a section over there off of Anna Hobbs for that storage. So any proposal you deem to go with tonight, we would just cut off that section from the lease and, of course, the cost with that. Just as a reminder on this one, this discussion can be brought back into executive session if you would like to discuss some of the intangibles, if it's going to protect our negotiating power with this one. I have not pushed out the bid information to the general public right now, so that is protected amongst you if you would like to discuss that further in executive session. Just want you to be aware.
Okay. I also believe that Mrs. Coker has planted seed out there and fertilized it too to keep it, the hay growing and stuff.
That's correct. And so, yeah, if another option is chosen outside of Ms. Coker, she has requested that the city grant her some additional time. And that's why you'll see in the lease, it doesn't even go into effect until at least December. Of course, that's flexible if we need to adjust that, but she just wanted to make sure that she could finish her job actively doing on Anna Hobbs.
And I think we have 2 bids, and I think they're probably in your packets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do
Well, I
y'all-
think there was
if y'all-
actually 2 from one person and 1 from another.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
if we can dissolve this now, you know, between the council members and stuff, then we can take care of it right now. If y'all want to go into executive session, my opinion is that if we do go to executive session, we move it to our last executive session. That way we can take care of 2 things at one time in the executive session. And at that point, if we do go into executive session over this, then we will contact the people and let them know who got it, who did not.
I'd like for it to go to executive session.
You want it to go to executive, anyone else? Or y'all want to resolve it?
I mean, if evidently, I mean, Richard's got some kind of reason why he wants to go there, so
Okay.
that's, you know, I'll go with that.
All right,
Give
we're
him an
gonna,
opportunity to
yeah,
speak.
okay.
I mean,
All right.
gosh.
What we're gonna do is take this into, I think Ms. Coker is the only one that is here.
Can we,
The other lady is not here at this point. So, what we're going to do is we will take this to executive session, and once we make an agreement in there, then that way you don't have to stay, because I know you're in pain right now. And, we will contact you tomorrow, one way or the other, to let you know what went down, okay? Thank you. You're welcome.
You want to give her an opportunity to address
If you would like to address us, yeah, you're welcome to come up here and
Right.
talk to us and tell us what you've been doing over there and what's,
Well, I have put all of their money into it out of good faith to be able to use it. And that's shredding and tilling it and plowing it and then fertilizing it and then seeding it. So there's already been quite a bit of money put in that land. And if I get it, we're gonna go in and where we can, we wanna plant some coastal and try to smother out the rest of them sunflower seed, you know, the weeds in that whole thing. But there is a big ravine in the middle that is not gonna be useful for anything. So we're gonna do all we can to spray it and keep it all cleaned up in that area also.
all right, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
thank you.
And
Thank you.
take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
did I hear you say that we're gonna
We're gonna move this
move this
executive,
executive session to the end with our,
with the other one, yes, sir.
for the other one? Okay.
That way we just have one executive session and we can, old country saying, kill 2
Right.
birds with 1 stone.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take care. All right, Number 13, Police Chief Report. Chief Dorsey?
Evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you to all our citizens and guests for being here tonight as well. Good to see everybody. I'd like to start off by sharing our August 2024 Police Department report. For the month of August, we had a total of 135 calls for service. For reports that include arrest, offense, and incident, total of 9. Criminal offense arrest, total of 9. Press reports, total of 9. Citations and warnings total 350. Citations total 260. Warnings total 90. Also for the month of August, security checks 173. School zone enforcement activities 12. Neighborhood patrols 41. Directed traffic enforcement 60. Also have our call type report and our citation and warnings breakdown in my monthly report. Also for the month of August, I kind of split it, did August 14th through September 10th for the school resource officer activity report. Over at the school, we had a total calls for service 4, security checks 71, 1 citation, 0 warnings, and 0 arrests. Then I also have a monthly activity report for that time period. And I'll also share, this occurred on September 13th, but I know it kind of raised some questions, but I'll go ahead and share it with everyone. There was an incident at the school. It occurred at the intermediate school. It was a 5th grader, 10 years old. There was a student that basically, there was a student that got up at the start of the school day. He got up to go change the date on the whiteboard, and another student got up. I don't know if there's a history of bullying between them. I wasn't able to really clarify that for sure, but he went up at the same time and assaulted the other student, punched him in the face, punched him in the eye, and then he also made a verbal threat about a gun. He did not have a gun on his person or in his possession. There was no gun on campus. The school was not locked down. He just made a threat about a gun, wishing he had one or could bring one to school. But some students heard gun, some students heard airsoft gun. We have written statements saying gun, and we have some that say airsoft gun. So either way, it was a threat. So I wanted to get a statement out to let everyone know, let the public know that we're handling the situation. Fortunately, the school, right after this incident happened, it occurred at like 8:05, and they made the student go to the office, and we were over there at like 8:11. So within a few minutes of this occurring, we were there to respond to the situation. And so he was in the office, isolated from everybody else within 6 minutes of everything happening, or less, because, we got there at 8:11 and he was already in the office. So, thankfully, they got him out of the classroom and got him to the office, and so we did our investigation, and with juveniles, the system works a little bit differently, but the parent of the victim wanted to pursue charges, so we did what we had to do and took him to the juvenile detention center and charged him with the assault and the terroristic threat. Because, with this day and age, any threat is credible and we have to take it seriously. So that's what we had to do. And so I just wanted to share that. And so in the future, last year when we had an incident arise, I released a statement to the public, and after that statement was released, we got with the school and we worked out a joint statement that both the ISD and the PD and the city agreed upon. And we basically, in any event or any incident, will release a statement and kind of fill in the blank. It will be I wouldn't say a generic statement, but it'll kind of be a blanket statement that we can release. And then we will add a little bit more detail, because we can't, every incident will be different. So we will add a little bit more detail in there, but there will be an information release that everyone's agreed upon that we can release out to the public.
Thanks for getting on so
So the reason I wanted to push this out so quickly is just so we could get this out first, because I knew that, students would be going home and telling their parents, hey, this is what happened at school today. So I wanted to get ahead of that and be like, hey, we're handling this situation. So that way it let the public and the parents know we're taking care of this. And that way no one's in a panic mode at the end of the day. They're hopefully give them a little bit of peace of mind to let them know we're handling the situation. So that's why I put this statement out.
Good job,
So.
Chief.
All right, and then I'd also like to share our city ordinance enforcement report. I ran this report for August 14th through September 20th. Total cases was 27. Cases that were compliant and closed were 3, non-compliant 15, citations 152. And the reason that number is so high, and I think the last 2 months as well, is because we're citing a property daily, and that's also citing the tenant and the property owner. But we are making progress in getting that resolved, and hopefully that will be resolved soon. But that's the reason why those numbers are higher than normal. As far as types of violations, we had animal violations 2, high grass 11, rubbish 4, junk vehicles 1, dangerous building 2, zoning violation 1, city permit violation 1. So total violations is 20. That also included 2 different charts, one for the statuses and then one for the types of violations. And then lastly, I just wanted to announce that we're going to kick off Blue Santa, 2nd annual. I'm hoping it'll be bigger and better than last year. Last year we had an amazing turnout. It was probably the best event we had all year, and it's something I've been looking forward to all year again. So we're kicking off Blue Santa. I'm officially announcing Blue Santa. It's going to happen again this year. It's going to be Saturday, September 21st. Oh, sorry. I'm still on September, sorry. Saturday, December 21st from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's going to be over at the police department. So up until that date, we're going to be collecting gifts for boys and girls, new gifts. Last year we did children 12 and under. But of course, if there's a need, if we can just get an I like the email approach. That way we have it in writing. That way we don't forget about it, because if we get the request by email, I can print them out. That way nothing gets overlooked. And so I'll include our email, our PD email on there again. So if people can, phone calls are welcome too. I'll make sure everything gets answered, but email's preferred if possible. But if there's a need for an older child, we're not going to turn anybody down, And if there's a specific request for a gift, we'll do what we can to fulfill that for that child. And then also we'll be doing the meal again on the 21st as well. So the PD will be hosting a meal for families, and then we'll also be distributing gifts, whether the families want to come to the PD and pick up the gifts, or they want us to deliver the gifts to them, or they want to come to the dinner and pick up the gifts then. So those are going to be the three ways. And then the drop-off locations will be at the PD, City Hall, or at the school, at the elementary campus. So those are going to be our drop-off locations. So I'm really looking forward to it. I hope we have a great turnout. And I hope we can help as many families as possible. So really looking forward to that this year. And then just real quick, going back to the roads and the truck enforcement and everything, I'll work on getting a potential number of signs that we need. And then also for the enforcement piece of it, we will need signs, and I forgot to mention as well, we'll need an ordinance drafted as well, and I'll be happy to help with that also, because we'll have to have a local city ordinance for the weight limit for our enforcement piece on that, but no big deal, we can handle that. So I think that's all I got.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, now we need the Public Works Director report. Jean and Johnny.
He's been doing a good job the last couple.
Come on, Johnny, you got it, you got it, man.
But I'll answer any
We have
questions.
two mics, we have two mics.
I'll answer any questions I've got.
This is Gene's succession planning right here.
Yeah.
Throw him into the water.
Yeah,
I'll pay for it tomorrow. You know.
throw him under the bus, I tell you.
All right.
Told you it's coming up here.
Here's what we got. All right, he actually looked over this before handing it to me, so I didn't get a chance to look over it. So let's go with our wells and how much water we got from each source that we have. So we got 9,580,000 gallons from Talbert, that's a well. Blue Bonnet, we got 17,416,000, that's purchased water. Westridge, we got 1,663,000 gallons, and that would be well water. And Friendly Oaks, we got 0. Our water loss, let me see, we could just point out a few things on here. Flushing, 1.7 million. Water loss work orders, I guess that's from leaks, it would be 1.395 million. And everything else is Duty Park. These are pretty small numbers. The fire department, 250,000 gallons. So, let's see. Some of our biggest issues with water loss are apparently the water leaks. A lot of these lines, they're getting worse and worse and worse. We were supposed to be a lot less than this for Blue Bonnet, but we had a 8-inch main break at, I think, 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, that completely drained that tank out. But yeah, and then we had another line break off of Westgate 1 or 2 that used a lot of water as well, so that jacked up our usage for last month. And then, I'm not sure if the one over there by Helena was on there too, but that was a huge leak. It just seems like the lines are getting worse and worse. Wanted to bring to y'all's attention about 809 Bethany, if y'all got a second.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I wrote it down. We've had 22 water leaks on 809 Bethany, and that's a 6-inch main line since 2020. The line is getting worse and worse and worse. I don't know how bad it's leaking right now, but it's time to start either repairing that line instead of just putting Band-Aids on it or replacing the line. We can do what we can to it, but the line really needs to be pulled out in the right of way where we can access it. Right now it's in the backyard. I mean, if that's something y'all are looking would be more interested in, we can write something up and give you more details about where the line is at and get you a map on things like that. And that's a water line leading straight from Friendly Oaks to the pump station that serves pretty much our, I think, pressure plane 3, which is Ranch Crest and Old Bethany area. So, but that's pretty much all I got for you, just more and more leaks.
Is,
And that's where most of your water loss is going.
Mr. Prater?
is that one of the lines that, that has a lot of rock, backfill in it?
Yes.
That's probably more than likely why you're having so many leaks on it.
Yes, every time we dig it up, it's another rock.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I found out it was only 22 work orders for that location. Because a lot of times, and a lot of times when we get called out there, it's after hours and on the weekend because the guy is not at home most of the time, and then when he comes to his workshop, there's another leak there.
What size line is that?
It's a 6-inch water line.
How many feet? You think?
We have to measure it.
Okay.
And the biggest problem with this water line is it's going underneath a creek, and it's not bored, it is open cut. So we have to dig about 10 to 15 feet deep to repair it when it's in the creek line.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's getting worse, it's getting unsafe.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, we don't have access to it. We do have the guys' gate code, and we could get in and check it, but this is our worst line we have on the system.
yeah.
And these are just visible water leaks that we know that's on there that we went out there and fixed. There's probably, if you want to get your water loss under control, we need to start. I don't suggest upgrading the lines. I just suggest replacing them. I mean, you can upgrade them to an 8 or 12, be great, but something's better than nothing.
Is,
Mr. Wiggins?
is there a section in this line that, how many leaks did you say there?
22
22, okay.
in one person's backyard.
In one person's backyard?
Yes.
Okay. Can we, you know, to replace the whole line is probably gonna be a big
It is.
project. But can we take and narrow down all those little leaks in between this point and this point?
Yeah.
Can we put some pipe,
We-
new pipe in there? Can you?
We've talked about it. I've talked with Gene about it, and just, you have to shut down the service to everybody. That is the main line that goes straight from Friendly Oaks. It's supposed to be the Friendly Oaks travel to the pump station. But right now, it's being fed through the Talbot water. Talbot and West Church water still goes through there now. But you would have to shut down everybody in that area, Friendly Oaks area, just to fix the line.
Right.
And then it's all in rock, so you'd have to dig out the line, beat up the rock to replace so much. And then we only have so many people with us, and we only have so many hours in a day to
Right.
be out there beating on the rock. But like I said, it's in the people's backyard. So if we went out there and replaced sections of it, and then later down the line, we decided to move it out towards the road and put it in the right of way where we can access it a lot easier and monitor it, then we basically lost all that money that we put in replacing sections of it.
Okay, well, I mean, I say y'all try to get a plan together and bring it back to us and see what we can do to
Yeah.
help eliminate
Yeah.
a lot of it.
Well, and then if you look on the board back there in the conference room, there's a pin map. And the pins on that map basically, they are leaks on the system. And we stopped putting pins on it. Connie was here? 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago, we stopped putting pins on this map. And you will see how many pins are actually on that map. There's,
Okay.
and that will give you an idea of how bad. So like if you wanted to try to go after water loss, it's gonna be in your lines. Because
But
we
we need
fixed,
to go after water loss.
yeah.
Yeah,
And, let's just see how many leaks we fixed just this month alone.
9,
Is it 9?
yes, sir.
All right, well, today alone, yesterday I thought we were all caught up on leaks, and we got a phone call, and we had to fix 7 leaks today,
Today.
just today. We were working from 7 to, we just got done at 3:30, and, you know, really no breaks, no nothing like that, just to get 7 leaks.
Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we take the worst areas.
Yes,
That y'all
yes.
deem what the worst areas are. And evidently, this is the worst one.
Yes.
And maybe give us a list.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe come up with a plan to try to fix
Yeah.
some of this. You know, obviously, we can do what we can with the money we have,
Yeah,
but might not be able to replace a mile
yeah.
of pipe, but maybe we could do a quarter of a mile or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to bring
But-
y'all's attention to
Right.
this area right
I
here.
appreciate
and,
it.
and where we are losing most of our water is through water leaks. A lot of these water leaks we don't know about, and then somebody's walking their dog and they hear it.
Right.
One guy's out there shredding and he finds a 6-inch leak that nobody knew about because it was covered in poison ivy.
One behind the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what our main issue is. And until we start knocking, because we can go out there and walk the streets and find some leaks, but if we had 22 leaks on this line in the last 4 years, there's leaks on that line that you don't see.
Right.
So that's just, Gene's looking into some software for the GIS also to start pinpointing where our leaks are at. Now, y'all might have to approve that. But it got
Right.
brought to our attention the other day, so it's something that we might look into, so that way y'all can see exactly where the leaks are being fixed at.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I did notice on the usage and loss report that we had an increase in the pumped and the sold water,
Mhm.
and the flushed was the same as last month,
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same as last month. And, our loss was down. Our
Yeah.
loss was down by about 256,000 gallons.
Okay.
So that's good, which reduced our percentage.
Yeah, I think some of that was because of the leaks that we actually found and fixed,
Probably.
because then you can account for that water
Yeah,
loss. When you
right.
find a leak and fix it, then it doesn't go under, where did it go?
Right.
It goes under a water leak.
But now, so I mean, y'all did a great job on that, and bringing this to our attention is good, and y'all come back with a plan
Yeah.
for us. I think it'll be great. Now, one thing I did notice, from the usage and loss report, which is right here, there was a section right underneath here
Okay.
that was, the definitions on there. Now, that got omitted, I don't know where like you have there, I don't have that on mine. So, let's keep that on the report.
That was my fault if it was
Okay.
missing. I just forgot to copy and paste it in there.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
okay, I didn't know if there's some reason, but I did wanna say, I think we need to keep
I can give you the reason. He come up here on a Saturday to finish it with COVID.
it. Right.
That was the reason.
Anyway, that was all, and thank y'all for what you do, you're doing a great job, all of you.
Okay.
Thank you, Johnny, you do
Thank
good.
you, Johnny. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. And Jean.
And Gene.
All right. Okay, engineers report. Kent, do you have something for the engineers report?
Nothing specific, but I can answer any questions to the best of my ability, should there
Do
be any.
y'all have any questions about the engineers report? If not, we're gonna move on to the, city administrator's report.
Okay,
Oh, yes,
just a notation here for everyone that evidently the CEFCO has been put on hold, is what I'm showing here.
Yes.
Because, until new direction is established by the new owners,
Yes.
which is Casey's, right?
That's correct. I did check in with our rep at CEFCO earlier this week. He did mention that Casey's has not officially closed the acquisition yet, and so we're kind of in purgatory until the deal finalizes.
Okay, all right, so we're
That-
on to the.
that was all I had on
All right, Kent, you wanna give us your report?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Happy to give it. I had a lot of work going on this month. A lot of work, and I've got some pictures to prove it. Hop into some of those here in just a minute, but getting things started here. Property tax sales. So as previously mentioned, 2 properties did go up for auction this month due to those delinquent property taxes. Both were sold and will soon be receiving our portion. Some of the other taxing entities do get a section of that with the settlement, so that's coming soon. I just wanted to update everybody. I know council's probably already read through this before, but our bed and breakfast short-term rentals, that application has been finalized. It's been published out to the public now. It does appear, however, that some of those short-term rentals, those bed and breakfasts that we had operating back in April, are no longer in operation. But I did go ahead and just send out a letter to those folks who we knew were in operation, just let them know that this application process is in effect now, and that they would have to apply for the license should they want to operate that type of business activity. So just as a reminder, what council did previously this year is they created the license process, which basically regulates the business regulations, the how. Next month, you'll see before council will be some zoning that mirrors some of those definitions that were in the business regulations, but this really addresses the where, should council want to implement those zoning changes. Okay, moving right along, our sewer system. You've probably seen some of the activity around town. It actually happened. We actually closed on the loan. So this is a huge milestone, and I just, if y'all don't mind, I think we're just a really clap for everybody involved. I mean, we couldn't have done this without y'all's support, all the people who came before us, council members, staff members, and y'all all had a hand in this.
They're bringing their equipment, you can
Yep,
see it.
you can
But
see
I want
it.
to say that the driving force is sitting here to my right. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Ken.
Well,
Yes.
I appreciate that, but really, we wouldn't be here without everybody else's effort on that, so. Anyways, huge milestone, pre-construction meeting followed. We had that on September the 11th. Tabor and Associates led the discussion. We had contractors, or representatives from all 5 of our contractors there present. We got a lot of good information distributed, a lot of good discussion, hashed out a few things out there. One of the items that did come up, we will be talking about tonight in executive session, how council wants us to proceed with that. The construction is expected to take 1 to 2 years. 1 year is the project deadline. I'm guessing that it will probably be extended. We're probably gonna hit some hiccups. Please give us plenty of grace. This is the first time we're ever installing a sewer system, and we're gonna hit some issues for sure. But in the end, I think it's all gonna be a positive thing for our community. On another positive note, we do have a meeting set up with Pete Sessions' office in early October. We're gonna be seeking to reapply for that appropriations funding this coming cycle. If we are selected for those funds, we would use this money to add on additional sections to the sewer system, thereby furthering that goal of hopefully getting to keep people's costs down, maybe lower the base rate or something like that. That would be ideal. Again, a lot of these costs are unknown to us. We know the fixed cost of the construction. We don't know how much it's really gonna cost us to operate this thing. So we will be finding that out. On to the water system. Our annual tank cleanings are scheduled for both West Ridge and Talbert ground storage tanks in the month of November. Thank you, Gene, for helping us work through getting all of that scheduled. The Falls County improvements, they're almost finished. They're about a month and a half to 2 months ahead of schedule on that one. So they started the boring work a little bit earlier in the month. They're going under private drives. They're going under 1239. So making great progress on that one. You can see one of the pictures up there. That is when they started the project. It's right there at the beginning curve of 1239. They're already squared down to the end of it. So they're pretty cool.
They are boring, probably already completed Booyah Creek bore.
Oh, did they?
Wonderful.
Okay. I didn't even hear about that one. That's great. So Booyah Creek, yeah, was needed. We had exposed water line out there, so this great progress on that for sure. Just as a reminder, once the work is complete and the as-built maps are marked up, then we will begin the process of working with our engineers to potentially get us out of this water meter moratorium in Falls County. They're going to rerun that, let us know if additional water meters can be installed and where those water meters can go. The first payment for this project was mailed out earlier this week to the tune of just under $700,000. With this payment, we have now expended and allocated all of the grant funding from the 2021 ARPA SLRF funding. So this is going to make it really easy for staff to report one invoice. So thank you so much for helping that work out the way it did. Falls County water well, we're still working with the representatives, the landowners. I have been told that the landowners are working on a family meeting to discuss So hopefully in the near future, we will get some more information on that. The radon analysis, still working with TRWA. Put that a little bit on hold as we're working on the sewer system. We will be bringing some findings before you a little bit later in the fall or in winter to talk about water rate structure. And then on Friendly Oaks, I think I'll skip over a lot of the details on this one, but the big news is that the well is back up and running. It is online. However, we got one of the same low voltage faults that we had received previously in the year on September the 13th. So what we did is we went ahead and just shut it off. We had already planned on bringing council a proposal for monitoring equipment. That was something that one of the other engineers had mentioned as a recommendation once we got the well back on, so they can see exactly what electricity is coming in and doing to the site. So we've turned it off. We've got this proposal for you here tonight on the consent agenda. If you move forward with that, then we'll turn the well back on once the monitoring equipment is up and running. That way we can see if anything is affecting that site. Our electrical engineer on that one, the new one, is thinking that it might have something to do with our booster pumps, the VFDs not having sine wave filters on there, but that's all going way over my head. So I won't act like I know what I'm talking about too much. But the good news is we were able to sample for PFAS. Those are those forever chemicals. Those are one we have a class action lawsuit set up against. The lab analysis from that is in. No PFAS, excuse me, were detected in any of our groundwater sources. However, there was a very small amount detected in the water coming from Bluebonnet. So I'll go ahead and proceed now with the next steps in that class action settlement. On to our grants updates. So I mentioned to you that we had to, excuse me, I have to slow down just real quick. Still kicking my butt a little bit. So we did have to reschedule the site visit with TDA while I was out sick last week. However, she was able to swing back by today. So we went out to the site at 2:30 today, got a lot of the preliminary work done. She was able to see just how shallow that galvanized line is buried and why it breaks every time somebody rides a lawnmower through that alleyway. So that was good. Got a lot of pictures, and she was lovely, and we were able to set this whole process up. On to the General Land Office Resilient Communities Program. That process is undergoing procurement for our grant administrator currently, so we're accepting proposals until tomorrow. And then next week, a committee of myself, Mayor Owens, and President Weaver will sit down to select a recommendation to bring before you at a future council meeting to discuss who we want to apply for that grant for us. And then I think we already touched base on CEFCO, so I'll skip over that one. The EDC is still requesting city council and general public comments on some of the changes to the comprehensive plan. So if you're interested in making those, please just send them over to me via email. We're looking specifically at the downtown economic development section of that. And then I'll just go through these photos real quick so you can see some of the action. Proud to show off some of this stuff here. The second photo there is the Hungry Hill property abatement. We've had a property over there we've been working with to get cleaned up. Initially, we started off as a volunteer effort, but after not seeing a whole lot of action on the owner's side, decided to convert this to a municipal lien process. So kudos to our public works guys. They had a roll off over there. This is what the property looked like before. It was just covered in grass and weeds and lots of just rubbish and junk, and there's the property side after. So a huge improvement, and I know our ball club is very appreciative that that lot is now cleaned up. The Public Works pole barn that council ordered a couple months ago has been completed. Mr. Strickland made short work of that, and so it is up and running now. There's that 8-inch water main that broke at 1 a.m., so you can see it with the guys. I showed up to take that picture around 6 a.m. When I woke up, our guys were already off and working on it, but you can see just if that thing is running at full blast and located next to a water tower, it is just pouring out water. So good job on getting that one fixed up for sure. And that's the reason right there we had that boil water notice for, what, 3 or 4 days over the weekend last month. those duplexes that y'all approved last month, they made quick work on those as well. As you can see, the framing over there has already just about been complete. So a little surprised that they went so fast on that one, but they had everything lined up and ready to go. Shady Shores, our Chapter 54 case, is finally making some progress. I know that's making everybody happy. Chief Dorsey's definitely happy to see that going forward. Excuse me. The land has been cleared, so huge progress.
They pulled up on that with their tractor, unloaded their tractor and drove into the yard and run a piece of rebar right through the tire.
Did they really?
Yeah,
They call
I had to
you?
go- Yeah, I had to go out there and fix it.
That's funny. I'm almost done. I'm almost done, I promise. I'll be out of here. So the Friendly Oaks fence did get upgraded. You can see that line. That fence now includes the junction box, the electrical box. So that work is almost finished there. This is the new VFD that was installed out there. It's about double the size of the old VFD. So they had to do quite a bit of work to get that thing in there. Right now, we're working with Mr. Strickland to come up with a game plan on how to get this thing air conditioned. Of course, we have a little bit of time now that things have cooled off, but I think it's really important that we get this thing climate controlled. That way it's operating at its best. Electronics just don't do well in heat. And then there's the evidence of that well flushing. A couple more, you probably noticed outside, we finally have that signage. Good job, Pam, for staying on that vendor and finally getting that up.
Yes, looks good.
And then lastly there, you'll see our sewer system material staging. So great stuff. Sales tax revenue, I'll just touch on that briefly. Still seeing those big numbers coming in, just a slight little dip, but almost double from what we were experiencing last month, and that's really helped out with the budget. Speaking of the budget, pretty much right on track with every line, with every fund, doing pretty well on that one. Of course, the water has gone over, police has gone over on that one. But as Chief Dorsey, I think, has already explained to you, that pretty much just has to do with our vehicle accidents that we had this year and some of the expenses that we had with those. So with that, I'll entertain any questions, or we can move on.
Does anybody have any questions or anything? Yes, sir.
One quick one. I'm Rick Edmiston. Have we broke ground on the sewer system yet?
No, sir. No breaking the ground just yet. All the contractors are submitting timeline proposals to our engineer on essentially which section of the sewer system they want to start on first. So Mr. Tabor's got to review all that stuff, and then he'll give them the all clear to move forward with the actual excavation here shortly.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have any questions? We'll move right along. Number 17, consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be considered by the city council and will be enacted on by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a council member or a member of the public so requests. A, approval of the minutes. B, finance. C, interlocal corporation agreement for culverts. D, auction of surplus items. E, general election contract and agreement. F, payment approval and spending authority ratification. T, Moses Company. T, Morales Company. And G, electrical testing and evaluation of, I can't pronounce that one, McGrisser?
That's McCreary and Associates.
McCreary and Associates. Okay, and that's it. And does anybody make a motion, or does anybody need to pull anything out? Mr. Wiggins?
Okay. Everything looked good to me, so I'm gonna move that we approve all the consent agenda items.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Joyce? All in favor? All for. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, number 18, establish a street repair committee. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the establishment of an ad hoc street repair steering committee for a period not to exceed 6 months of service.
Thank you, Mayor. So the purpose of this committee will be to meet and discuss how we're going to spend that 24-25 street repair budget. and specifically on the areas most in need. We'll have some other considerations this year. First, we've almost tripled that budget, so we've got more money to work with, but also the sewer system is going to be including a overlay of all the roads that are impacted. So hopefully we can target some of the, maybe lesser known roads that have been needing repair for many years. But anyways, wanting that to be an open process. So this is temporary as needed service. We're still looking to do an interlocal agreement with McLennan County, Precinct Road and Bridge, Precinct number 1 Road and Bridge for performing this service. They typically like to do their bids in January, so we've got a couple months to work with and come up with a game plan. The repairs, however, would not likely begin until at least spring or summer of 2025. So in your packets, I did include makeup from last year and just a recommendation on what that looks like this year. Just suggestions on maybe including citizens or maybe a member of the Bruceville-Eddy Economic Development Corporation as well.
Any questions? Mr.
I recommend that we put it on Savvy Citizen and that we allow a time for people to apply to be on this committee. That way citizens can get involved.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
And we'll have a time limit on that, bring it back next meeting, is that?
Yes, next meeting we can.
In October?
In
Okay.
October.
Yes, sir. Mr. Jean?
So, me and Johnny were just talking. I say, for Public Works and Supervisor, I wanna put Calvin in that position instead of one of us. He's the one that's in the truck, he's the one that is doing a lot of the repairs. Let's let him have that spot.
Calvin?
Yep.
Calvin. He said Calvin. I want to make sure I heard that correct, okay? All right, got Calvin. All right. Anybody else have any other suggestions of that?
Well, no, she just made the motion about, was that a motion, correct?
Yes, I make
Okay.
a
Make a
motion
motion,
that
okay.
we put it on Savvy Citizen and allow the
Right.
citizens to apply.
There we go.
I'll second.
Okay, all right.
I'll second that.
You second that?
Richard did.
Oh,
Richard
Prater.
did.
Okay. All in favor of putting it on Savvy Citizen? Unanimous. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
But I have one other,
Yes, sir?
part 2 to this. As far as the city council members, I think it's only, I'm gonna say, Joyce and Richard, because all the other 3 are up for election, they might not get it. So I'm gonna make a motion to appoint Richard and Joyce
Okay.
for
Mr.
council members.
Okay. All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Unanimous, okay, so y'all, you two?
Normally it happens when you're not here.
Yeah. You get, you gotta make sure you come to the meetings. All right,
Well, yeah, but
okay, Public Works Director, Finance Director, and 1 or 2 citizens, okay? And one from okay, got it, all right.
now, as far as on the EDC, we can maybe ask the new members or ask them if any of them would want to.
Would want to do it?
Yes.
Doesn't hurt,
Yeah.
okay?
And I'll make that motion, if we need to.
All right, okay, anybody want to second that, to ask the new members
I'll
Any-
second.
about that? Okay, Mr. Prater second that, all in favor? Okay, unanimous, all right. we
And
can
just
do
for
that.
clarification on that one, you want me to ask specifically the new members? or
No,
just the-
I want you to ask all of them, all of them.
Including
Yeah,
the new
yeah,
members.
including the new members is my intent.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I understood, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, okay, all right, so let's go to the next, number 20.
19?
19, oh, let's skip it, no, okay. Election of the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Board of Trustees. Council discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the election for place 11-14 of the Board of Trustees for the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Board.
That's a mouthful, huh?
Yes, it is.
Yes, so, council, the places 11, 14 are up for election. Before you, in your packets, you had a slate of candidates for each of those positions, so they're just asking that you make a motion to nominate either a slate of candidates or just make a selection for each one of those places.
Do we have to take any action on this?
You do not have to take any action on this.
I don't know none of these people.
Okay, don't know any of them, so, okay.
Well, I mean,
Mr. Wiggins,
I don't really know any of them, but by reading
about them?
about them, you know, I'm gonna say on that place 11, that Mr. Davis, place 12, Hayward, and place 13, Mr. Jefferson. And then, of course, 14 is Mr. Land. There is nobody opposition to him anyway.
All right, so Mr. Wiggins has suggested that 11 is for Mr. Davis and 12 for Hayward, 13 Jefferson, and 14 for Land. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add to that? Anything? All right, do we have a second on it?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of using these four? Okay, unanimous, okay, so we've got Davis, Hayward, Jefferson, and Land.
Yeah, and these ballots have to be received by September 30th.
Yeah,
Yes, sir,
we'll
I'll get them
in
out
there.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll get it signed and in there. Okay, moving on to 20. Equipment purchase. 12-foot, 3-stage dump trailer. At the recommendation of the Budget Committee, council to discuss, consider, and vote to take action to approve the city's administrator to purchase a 2025 12-foot, 3-stage dump trailer with 2-foot sides from Flat Rock Trailers in an amount not to exceed $8,900 using monies in the FY 2024-2025 budget, primary budget line item number 5000-6608 of the water fund. And of course, this is on next year's budget, but that will start next week, so.
You got it, Mayor.
Keep that in
I
hand.
think you hit pretty much all my comments on
I'm
this one.
sorry.
No, that's
I
good.
didn't take
I'm
it
glad,
away.
I'm
Oh,
glad, especially with my voice. No, the current equipment that we have is undersized. It has a bent axle.
Yes.
It limits the staff's ability to carry a load, so this was a Budget Committee recommendation that we get a new one. The old one, we're not necessarily gonna auction off just right away. They're gonna use that for smaller jobs, maybe be able to throw some pump equipment in there when they need it, and that way they can pull 2 trailers. This one will be able to be pulled by a couple of the trucks, so crews can get out there with everything that they need. This one is up to 12,000 payload capacity, 3 stages, 12-foot in length with 2-foot sides. So my recommendation on that one is to approve.
Okay, Mr. Wiggins?
Okay, I'll make a move that we approve the purchase not to exceed $8,900 for the dump trailer.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Prater made a second. All in favor? Unanimous, okay, thank you. We can get that done. Okay, you got that ready, okay? All right, 21, candidate format. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the allowance of a committee forum for Bruceville-Eddy Independent School District Board member candidates to take place at City Hall. And that's the one that they want to use our City Hall, correct? To hold
Yes,
this.
ma'am, I'll
Okay.
offer, this is for Bruceville-Eddy trustee candidates, like you said on that one. I will just mention that if council decides to move forward with this, I do volunteer to come up here at no cost, just to open the building up for the benefit of the public, and of course, run the AV so that this can be streamed out on YouTube. But with that, I'll defer to Joyce if you want to make any other comments on this one. I think y'all are organizing.
Yes, a lady in the community is organizing it, and she felt like, and I agreed with her, we talked about it, that a lot of times we'll have a town hall with the city council candidates that people can come and ask questions, but we never have one for the school board candidates that are up for election. And so we felt like it would be a great idea for the community if we could have the school, because there are 6 candidates for school board this year, filling three slots. And it would be great if people had an opportunity in the community to come, especially parents and who have kids, or even grandparents with grandkids in school. And I thought it would be good for the community, and this would be a good place. And those who couldn't come could watch it on YouTube. So that was, I just think it's a good idea.
Yeah, that's, I think ain't nothing more important in this town than our kids, so
Amen.
I say,
Okay, you second it, so Joyce made a motion, and Prater seconded, all in favor? Okay, good deal. I think it's a good deal.
When is the date? October 21st. It'll be a Monday night, just like for the city council. It'll be a Monday night, I believe from 6 to 7 will be the time slot. It'll be an hour.
And if anybody has questions on that one, who's the contact on that one? Do they?
Dolores Compton. We'll be putting out information on Facebook and fence posts, all the community sites, and on Savvy Citizen. And we'll have flyers out. So the information, we just wanted to make sure we got it approved first before we started really talking about it.
I understand, no problem.
So.
All right, number 22, nomination of candidates to the Falls County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Council discuss, consider, and possibly take action on Resolution R 9-26-2024-1, nominating candidates for the Falls County Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Yes, ma'am. Just going through that annual action here, if council chooses to do so. The positions do become vacant on January 1st, 2025. Our city is being asked to nominate 2 eligible candidates for FCAD. The vote would come later on, once the nominees are selected for this and they've been finalized. So that action will come in a couple months here. But my recommendation here is that you make a motion to nominate 2 eligible candidates. I think in your packets, it did mention that Mr. I think it's Ian Gisler and Briley Terrier both up for renomination here.
and the nominees would have to live in Falls County, correct?
That's correct. They do
So
have to be a
east of-
tax-paying,
East of the railroad track.
for the most part. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, they have a motion, Mr. Wiggins.
Okay, I'll just, move that we nominate Mr. Geisler and Miss Terry.
All right, do I have a second? Mr. McGruer, seconded, all in favor? Thank you, okay, we got those two, all right? All right, fencing contractor, sewer system easement work. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to authorize the city administrator to engage with a reputable fencing contractor for the purpose of coordinating and managing fencing repair work stemming from secured easements access, request of a NTE amount of $10,000 with costs going toward the line item 51-00-6682 of the sewer fund. Okay, Kent? you wanna
Mayor,
explain
council,
this to us?
yes, absolutely. So, wanted to bring this before you before we start the construction project. Go ahead and get ahead of ourselves. Requesting some money, requesting some flexibility on this one. Our sewer system contractors, they're gonna need to remove pretty much the entirety of Anna Hobbs' backyard privacy fences to install the sewer main within a dedicated easement that essentially runs through everybody's backyard. Of course, we have all those easements secured. However, as you can imagine, it's been a few years since somebody has signed that. So we're going to be working on some public messaging to get out and just remind everybody we're going to be doing this work. But the bids did not include the cost to reinstall these fences. Our contractors have told us that they will send a camera down the alleyway. They will capture all the fences and everything in its current condition. They will remove the fences, however, they're not gonna put those fences back up. So just looking for some flexibility here, so when the construction does start to take place in that area, we're able to take care of the homeowner. Specifically, we have 2 easement agreements that require the city to install fences back to the current condition or better, and one of those requires temporary fencing for animals. Well, as you can imagine, when we do that, some of the other neighbors, I'm sure, are going to be calling myself and other staff members and wondering why they didn't get the same amount of treatment. It's going to be a very tricky conversation to have to explain why they didn't get the same the same agreement. Well, I can't explain necessarily why that occurred the way that it did, but this will give us a little bit of flexibility to get a contractor in there, put up some of these fences back to a current condition. I have called several fence contractors. Everybody says they want the work, but I send a follow-up email, and then I start making follow-up phone calls, and nobody wants to call me back. Gotten several local recommendations. I'm sure they're all great recommendations, but again, when I throw this idea out there, nobody calls me back. So I do have one on the line, a firefighter here in Bruceville-Eddy, who said he's up for the work. He doesn't primarily do a lot of privacy fence work, but he's capable and he has friends that are capable of doing that. So I'd like to reach out to him and see if I can't get him kind of in our quiver to do this work. But
We could put that out as a citizen to it and ask for somebody that's,
yes, ma'am.
fence repairers.
Certainly could. Yes, ma'am.
But try to keep it local anyway, that way, because fence companies, okay, they're not all gonna be, when you call them, they're gonna go, oh, well, we'll come out there and fix that, so-and-so. If they're local and we let them know, hey, it needs to come up, maybe this section needs to come up by this weekend, or
Right.
after 5 o'clock today until dark, or something, and they could do that. But if they're out of town or somewhere like that, they're not gonna want to. 5 o'clock comes, they're gone.
Well, that's the problem we had, for example, with one of our fencing contractors for a project we just did. Council approved that 4 months ago, and we finally got them on the schedule after constantly hounding them to come out. So we need somebody who's gonna be able to respond when there's a situation out there. The fence has come down, the homeowner's got animals. And I know this isn't something we necessarily accounted for, but giving me that ability to spend up to $10,000, I'm thinking on a pay-as-I-go basis before having to come back to council and asking for some additional money. I have no idea how much this is gonna cost us, but I think it's only right that we at least make right on the promises we've put out there already. So that's.
Mr. McGurk?
I'd like to make a motion,
Okay.
that we authorize the city administrator to engage with a reputable fencing contractor for the purpose of coordinating and managing fencing repair work stemming from the secured easement access.
Okay, do I have a second?
Not to exceed.
Oh, not to exceed $10,000.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Wiggins, okay. All in favor? Unanimous, okay. Kent, you got that? We'll put that out, we'll probably get some people.
Are you gonna go to the executive now? Okay.
That's the next one. Let's do this one first. Okay, all right, we're gonna do 24, water system tap and meter fee. Council discuss, consider, and possibly take action regarding city policy relating to the installation of water meters and taps, especially the cost change to new and previous customers where a meter has been removed at either the request of the customer or due through non-payment. And I think we all had discussed about that earlier to.
Go in executive.
Well, no,
No,
table
no,
that.
this is to get hold of the
Yeah, we're gonna table it until we get
engineers
a.
and table it till we can get a hold of the
Yeah,
engineers.
yeah, I mean, I'll just make a motion to table it and to have our engineer here at the meeting, and also, to have our parks, our water department to come up with some figures,
Okay,
come back with us, to us, for repairing some lines.
I'll second
okay.
that.
You second, Joyce? Okay, all in favor? All right, number 25, right now it is 7:50, and we're gonna close this meeting, so we can go into executive session,
Yeah.
and we'll be
Me
back.
too.
That is the whole section. Okay. We had a dash there. Okay. Consultation with the city attorney, confer with city attorney to receive legal advice regarding potential litigations, sanitary sewer projects, Texas Government Code 551.071. Okay?
Yes, ma'am, and can you also read the one for the previous
Yes,
section there on the
for it is on Coker.
number 12?
Number 12, I gotta go in here and find all of these. And the next one is for the property lease of the city-owned, land located off of Anna Hobbs Lane, Texas Government Codes, Section 55.072, deliberation about, rear property. A governmental body may conduct a closed meeting to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of a real property if deliberation in an open meeting would have a determinal effect of the purpose of the governmental body in negotiation with a third person. Okay, that's what we're gonna be talking about, and we'll be back.
They're getting beat, I can tell you right now, they're getting beat.
Okay. It is now 8:39, and our regular council meeting is back in order. We're back from the executive session. On number 12, executive session, the city council shall meet the executive session to discuss the following property lease for the city-owned land located off of Anna Hobbs Lane. Number 11. Yeah. Hay baling lease agreement. Okay, Mr. Wiggins?
Okay. I make a motion that we, issue the lease to Miss Dottie Coker, an amount of $750. Yeah. And then, to have Kent, get the agreement, and amend it as we discussed in executive session, and get it, to the,
Signature.
to the to
Okay.
the council.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, and Mr. Prater seconds it? All right, all in favor?
Comment?
Oh, comment, go ahead.
Okay, did we not discuss that we were going to charge an amount per acre and not a fixed amount for the?
To not,
That was Kent
Okay.
putting the stuff together for us.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
That was part
if you
of the
wanna
agreement.
add a stipulation to this, you could, just saying, minus any deductions that we're gonna take for the sewer storage area.
Yes.
okay, I'll say that in my motion.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Okay, all in favor?
Yeah, you said it for me.
Unanimous, okay. All right, now, for number it's in here, number 25. Consultation with the city attorney regarding potential legislation on the Texas Government Code Section 551.071. Okay? Mr. Wiggins? We're not, what are we gonna do with this one?
It's,
No.
no action required.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yes.
Okay, and Joyce seconded. All in favor? Unanimous, okay, thank you. Okay, number 26,
I move that we adjourn.
okay, Joyce made a motion to adjourn.
Amen.
Okay, Mr. Prater seconded that. It is now 8:40, all in favor? Excuse me, all in favor?
Yes.
Unanimous. It is now 8:42, and this executive session is now closed.
Oh, no.
Prater seconded.
$700 or, yeah, $700.
Seconded it.